Hello, everyone, and welcome to Project Luna R6. It's Grand Finals Day. We were going to have a third place match. That didn't happen. Kitten Queens, unfortunately, chose to FF for time constraint and conflict reasons. But here we are. It's Grand Finals time. It's going to be Wildcard Queens going up against Strike X, who managed to make it here after a crazy upset over Kitten Queens yesterday that I highly recommend you go back and watch if you didn't see it yesterday. And joining me today is going to be Cresto. How you doing, man?
I'm actually doing wonderful, to be honest, and this is also my first time casting on EU as well after I moved out, so thanks a lot for having me over here. And from the way you have actually explained the matches, I would say that the previous matches were really exciting, but now in the grand finals, I really want to see what these people have on the board to share, because I'm really excited for the entire the matchup and who takes the crown to take themselves as the champions.
Oh, yeah. All of these ladies are absolutely phenomenal at this game, and I've had the pleasure of casting all of them over the last couple weeks here. It's been an absolute pleasure, but only one team, as you say, can lift the trophy. And let's go ahead and take a look at our teams real quick, because these are two very talented squadrons. I mean, like I said, we've got Wildcard Queens going up against Strike X, and Wildcard Queens, right? These players are just insane. Secret, Bully, Mine, Cass, and Impala, I believe, was the starting lineup in our previous games. I don't know if all of them are going to be able to stick around for the whole series today. I think Mine had a time conflict, so hopefully they don't lose out on too much firepower just by losing the one player, but we'll end up seeing what happens.
Well, truth be told, this is something for me. This is a bit new for me because I haven't still seen the players in action yet, so I'm not going to be able to make any early decisions or calls. But I do hope, as they made their way to the grand finals, they will have enough firepower and to bring their A game over here. Because in the end, it might be a best of three, from what I can tell, but it is still a do or die situation for pretty much both the teams, because you came so far, and truth be told, nobody is here to take second place. These players seriously means business, and of course they have the capabilities. They'll have to bring, how do I put it, just to put that extra effort to take that crown for themselves. In the end, it's gonna be beating on the bush if I keep saying that, but it's going to be coming down to the factor that how they perform. I'm not trying to belittle any of them, because again, there's a lot for me to learn over here from these players' performances, which will be replicated on the field itself. In the end, R6 is a game where the best team always comes up on the top. Not to mention the new the meta changes with the new ban system, and on top of that, the game, the map decorations of Siege X and so on. It all comes from the factor who knows the maps the best. I can see that for the team A, I'm not sure. I think it's Strike X, if I'm not wrong. They are pretty
Indeed,
good
it is
on
Strike X.
exactly. So they're pretty damn good on Consulate, and the worst on Bank. To be honest, I'm kind of shit at Bank myself in my own ranked games. So I'm not quite. I kind of hate Bank in general because it feels like it's a window simulator. Think about it. There's so many windows to take care
It
of.
kind of
There's
is.
no way you can. I mean, it's difficult to hold a top floor without a castle unless you have an Azami on the board. But then again, these are also coming down to the ban factors as well, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. A lot of it comes down to that. But we aren't going to be seeing Bank today. It was Strike X's third ban. But interestingly, both of these teams are going to be able to play on their best map. Our first two maps are going to be Consulate, the best map for Strike X, and Clubhouse, by far the best map for Wildcard Queens. They are unreal at this map, especially on the defensive side. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And if we do end up going all the way to map 3, Chalet, yesterday, Strike X managed to beat Kitten Queens on that map, and Kitten Queens' best map is Chalet. They did it in 15 rounds in an 8-7 overtime. It was an insane game that I still can't believe I got to witness. So I think if this goes all the way, we might be in for an absolute treat. And I think that's pretty likely considering our first two maps.
That might as well be, because Consulate and Clubhouse, as you said, these are their strongest map picks. Wouldn't be really surprised to see the third map on the board. I'm not sure if Consulate is also a reworked map. Clubhouse is, Shaldit is. I actually forgot if Consulate is one of them as well, because in the end, it's also going to bring up the factor of the new utilities, the new fire extinguishers, the small, what's it called? the flame walls thingies and those stuff. But then again,
Right,
I'm
yeah.
not sure. I actually forgot what Ubisoft actually portrayed the names as. I think it's the explosive pipes X something, whatever. But in the end, it's all gonna come down to the team material. Again, not gonna beat around the bush too much. It's gonna come down to the A game, or how do I put it? How much they have practiced these games. And as I believe the previous
Indeed.
games has also been streamed, of course they have. I hope both the teams have done their homeworks, because in the end, it's a strategy to watch your opposition's best strategies and weaknesses so that you can exploit them the best. Well, it's just a matter of warfare, as we have read in the book Art of War.
For sure, for sure. And we should just be jumping into this one very shortly here. The game is ready, the players are ready, and we will be seeing the ban phase, the initial ban phase on Consulate here shortly. I am very curious to know who our first set of bans are going to be, but I think if if yesterday's games were anything to go off of, they're going to look pretty familiar. Fenrir and Blackbeard. Yeah, Blackbeard I saw a lot of bans for yesterday. So, not shocking in the slightest.
Not at all, because Blackbeard kinda feels oppressive at times, because you do have a headshot challenge against a player. I mean, not necessarily on every levels, but if you can headshot a Blackbeard while the shield is down, which is difficult to know to begin with, it is kind of oppressing sometimes. But then again, Blackbeard players do sacrifice on range at given times, because even with the laser sight, if you have an ACOG scope just in case, you will have a really hard time aiming downside. So I do see a lot of Blackbeard players just going for an iron sight and going in aggressively. And that does help quite a lot, because Blackbeard's Scar does have an amazing iron sight, but that's not going to be in the play. We will be heading into the game, as we will be seeing a sense on the board as well on a meeting Consulate defense. So it's going to be a bit more unorthodox, if I want to say. But then again, if that's one way to take control of the admin side, perhaps, because there's a lot of lines of sight available from that copy machine and the soda hallway, that can just work out. But I'm really interested to see how the new Clash work's gonna be favoring from the side of Wildcard Queens. Well, it doesn't quite damage the players with the electricity anymore, but it does feel a lot more annoying, because Clash can deploy the shield and walk around with her gun.
Oh yes, Clash, that rework has made her into a significantly more difficult menace to deal with, but we are going to be starting upstairs. I will point out, by the way, the second round of bans, a Monty and an Azami. Not shocking bans to see at all, but I think it just that Queens does not want to deal with shields at all. But either way,
yeah, go on.
couple other operator selections come in, a couple shifts on the attacking side. We will not be seeing that sense from foe. Rather, we will be seeing the Flores, which makes a lot of sense. I think that Flores will be solid for getting rid of things like the Goyo canisters, for example. Maybe putting some pressure onto the Clash, forcing her to move if she still has her shield up. So, a very interesting strategy we see for the attackers here.
Absolutely. Not to mention, even I play Flores quite a lot on the top for attack, because you can take a lot of control on the yellow side, but from the looks of it, it's going to be Shift. It's going to be taken out instantaneously by the Goyo. Not quite sure where the fun fight happened, but now the spot's going to be there. Nice shot from the side of Oryx onto Bloopy. Looking for more, and she will find a triple on her own, and now she is on a rampage. The round
yeah, I mean, 3 kills in the first couple... 3 kills in the first couple seconds. Just absolutely insane. And this is the type of impact we see from Mine throughout the entire series. Just continue to expect things from her. She is absolutely crazy at this game. But, I mean, Strike X, it's so unfortunate that they lose out on Shift A right off the bat. This is the Finka we're talking about here. This is one of those characters that enables the rest of your team to be able to rush, but getting domed instantly just means that so much of that push has been dissuaded now. So, being able to get in onto the site is a whole lot more difficult. Only 2 players into 5 different guns.
That's just the beginning of the story when you think about it, because now, as they have lost so many players onto the admin side as well. Sorry, onto the yellow side.
Oh my.
Okay, Yuling. See what you're up to there, buddy. And now, He will be spotted. She will be spotted by the Clash. A 2v2 situation, 2v3 situation as the Clash is going to be an annoying factor with the
Oh,
diffuser down as
Impala.
well. So
Impala.
much option left. And there you have it. The Clash work. This definitely has been put into use after all. I set him by the floors though, but I kind of expected her to hold onto the connector window for a little longer to bait out the Clash. But it's okay. This is the first round, and now Strike X knows how aggressive Wildcard Queens is going to be.
Wildcard, I mean, this is just standard stuff from Wildcard Queens. This does not shock me in the slightest. I mean, the defense is nearly ironclad, and it's mostly thanks to mine just getting that 3K on the Goyo in that first round there. So, not entirely surprising to me to see that go so quickly. But either way, it looks like we're going to be going down to the cafeteria garage site this time around with not one, not two, but three wall denial operators, a bandit, a Kaid, and a Tubarao on the board here.
Well, breaching is going to have a completely different definition this time from what I can see. But then again, it can easily be countered if the attacker side brings up a fuse. But then again, it's still a risk if they're willing to take. Buck is still there for the vertical pressure, but finding the electro claws might be a huge pain for them. But then again, if they're confident with it, it's not gonna be too much of a problem. As of now, I do love the setup from the side of the defensive side. As they are putting up a lot of lines of sight, so the attackers, even if they happen to go for the breach, they will not have an easy target onto the plan on the yellow pillar. But in the end, it all comes down to the factor how often and how effectively attackers can fend this off. Nades will, of course, the nades were expected, but there will be two ADSs to cover up the bandit to go for any form of bandit tricks.
Wall fortified.
And with the presence, the piano side, this is going to be a bit more difficult because I'm pretty damn sure that the Mosey has set up some traps to steal the drones. I believe Mosey has 4 pests now, which does allow him to deny a lot. Yeah, exactly. So, which does allow him to deny a lot more utilities. I mean, with Mute, you do have a fear that, okay, I'm going to lose my drone, but with Mosey, you have a fear to lose my drone position. But now, the Mosey is the primary target from by the Deimos. The 1v1 has been challenged, but I'm damn sure that Cassie is going to keep herself alive, and looks like it's going to be the case after all, but she is down. Not taken out yet, but okay. Okay, there you have it. Finally, we'll be having
Got there
shots
eventually.
confirmed.
Got there eventually.
And now, 4v4. C4's gonna miss. Kind of unfortunate, but then again, the dispatch is there. Good positioning from the side of the K. I think she knows that Deimos is within the windows, the premises. But if the callouts are there, Bloop is gonna have a real hard time because the Jaeger's on the flank. Never mind, the flank watch is there by the Ram. 4v3, the man disadvantage will be leaning towards the attacking side. But now,
and this is the power that Deimos can bring to a roster, man. Just being able to lock down the position of these lurkers, know exactly where the Mozzie and the Jaeger are before the engagement even can properly happen. You've already put yourself in a pretty advantageous spot, but Booley able to find the pick onto Bloppy. Deimos no longer in the picture here. But this vertical take, they're basically ignoring every single bit of the wall denial. There are still hatches to get through, and that might be a little bit harder, but this is looking decent for Strike X right now. 3 versus 3, going into the last minute of the round.
the Thermite can still get the hatch, but the problem is she'll have to make a long run with 1 minute left on the clock. And even with that, you have the diffuser. You can't quite just drop the hatch. You can open the hatch and go away, but that's still a lot of valuable time, and that's exactly what I was thinking about. It will definitely open up a little bit more vertical angles onto the floor because she did put it up on the soft surface so that it denies and can't ignore the Cade Electroclaw unless it has been denied. Never mind, a trade is gonna go down by World. And I Love You Secret. And now, 2v2, both the electrical people from the defensive side needs to make sure the attackers are not going anywhere, and looks like it's gonna be effective after all. Foe does have the diffuser.
Foe in a 1 versus 2. Up against 2 sharpshooters, Booley and Mine, both crazy good at this game. And eventually one of them is gonna find it. It will be Mine finding Foe on the rotate. No way to get in on that one. And just like that, round 2, once again, going to Wildcard Queens. That one was real close.
It indeed was. And I have to admit that attackers did find a pretty solid pace, but the defenders really know how to take control and turn the tables around, especially from that flank as well. From not the flank, sorry, the vertical angles from the side of Cade. Good gosh, he's super good with that TCS G12. And now, with that in the equation, Stark X, what's going to be their main target to take the objective? Ace is going to be brought on the board on a first floor defense. Not a lot of vertical pressure, so not quite sure how this is going to be planned out during the entirety of the game, because both the objectives on the technically first and second floor, the basement, needs a lot of vertical pressure, because this map is it does feel like an almost discount coastline, even though I did hate the previous console quite a lot because of the previously mentioned Windows Simulator from Bank. But with now what we have on the board, I do like the setups, but I would have appreciated a bit more of a vertical pressure, which I do believe will be coming in with the swap onto Buck instead of Lion. But with Ace, I do expect a push under the main door so that they can open up the reception side and go for a commitment onto B side. But then again, this is kind of a question mark from my side, because you may have control of pillars, but even after that, do you really want to risk control of the spiral stairs? Because you do know there might be someone playing onto the long table and they can flank you. The spiral stair area is a huge place to cover. And okay, whoa, I see what's happening here. Impala will find her own counter.
That's just gross. That's just gross.
And now that makes the Capcan a lot more yeah, you go on first? Sorry, I interrupted.
No worries. I was just gonna. I think I was gonna say something similar. Obviously, the Capcan was an issue that the IQ can help solve, but so is the Valkyrie. There is so much utility on the side of Wildcard Queens that IQ could have just shot down with the help of that character. But now that they're out of the picture, it becomes a lot harder, especially with an Echo also on board. Oh, this becomes difficult.
They're gonna be so much more lethal now, and now the Valkyrie does have the information, but it's gonna be Yuliang, I think, getting the first pick onto Impala. But the Captain traps are very much alive, and they can give them a hard time. Yuliang able to find a double. Oryx is down. Now they do have a significant advantage, considering the Vigil is off the board. Vigil has certainly been a real pain for them, but the C4, okay, it's gonna be pre-played. I'm damn sure someone's watching that camera in case there is an opportunity to blow it up, and I think they're just waiting for that. And I love how the defenders have left the objective to play time, because now they know the verticals are going to be coming in. They do not want to contest it, to confuse the attackers. 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the clock. The attackers need to make sure the control on yellow hallway needs to come in quickly, otherwise this is going to have a detrimental effect as well. Verticals coming in, Bully with the shotgun. And I do love the fact that Echo does have the ACOG bag, but then again, having the shotgun on the board with the bearing 9 does make a lot more sense if you want to make rotations and the lines of sight. And now 3v2, the defenders do feel the pressure, but it is the wild card. Not gonna be feeling too much of a question mark over there, because they know how to make it happen. The pings are coming in onto the ace. Mute. Very carefully, expecting the ace to walk in. Will they walk in? Oh no, the shot's gonna miss, but the Gridlock is gonna find the swing just in time. And now with her on the board, it's all about the Valkyrie. The flank's gonna be coming in as well. So now very much winnable. The plan has not quite gone down. The Potato Fest is gonna come in, and Sweet Bow will put Cassie out of the round. And with that, we will finally see a round coming in from the side of Team Strike X. Which was coming in indeed. And I gotta admit, this is the first time I'm seeing a person using a Russian ACOG with a suppressor. I mean, as an ace main, I may try it actually.
Might be worth giving it a go for sure, but we do see the Deimos and the Valkyrie taken off the board. These bans make a lot of sense. I think that the Deimos was a massive problem for Wildcard Queens in that second and third round. Just being able to lock down the position of one of these roamers at all times makes it so that it becomes near impossible for the roamer to really get everything done that they're hoping to. So taking it off the board makes a lot of sense. The Valkyrie is also a very interesting one here because, I mean, we saw last round they brought the IQ to try to get rid of the Valkyrie cameras and the Capcan traps and all of the other things, but it didn't end up happening. So why not just take the Valkyrie off the board so you don't have to worry about that anymore? Maybe you won't need to bring IQ in the future rounds just because that character no longer a factor.
Very much true when you think about it, actually. I've not quite given it that much of a thought, but hey, it is actually quite an explanation. But in the end, it all comes down to the fact that if they really want to put up an operator to look for those particular gadgets, I mean, IQ herself is an amazing operator. She does bring up an amazing set of weapons. I don't like the AUG personally, but the G8 and the SG, holy moly, the holy grail of attacking weapons. Even though they are indeed shared by two more attackers, one of them are actually both of them are on the board, except for one of them being bringing up the shotgun. But I kind of feel like that they are focusing a lot more on the frag play because Wildcard Queens are certainly bringing up the gunplay onto the equation. Amaru, aggression needs to be the name of the game as the shotgun is also on the play, but I do wonder which exact window is going to have the primary target. No Jaegers on the board, so Goyo shields are gonna go down as the nades pop in from the side of the Finka. And now they do have confirmation. There is someone playing instead of piano as well. Now, how is the Hun gonna go down? I don't quite like this window push because sometimes you do get cornered and from above as well because there's a line of sight you can make behind the desk. But the attackers are playing it very strategically and methodically, not giving away too much manpower or woman power this time around. Impala, however, will take advantage of that regardless with the buck of the board. And this is the angle I was thinking about. Not sure if the fatality happened from this side. Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, it is kind of common nowadays because with Consulate being a very soft map, defenders do hold a lot of entry windows on vertical angle. Okay, very bold decision from the Amaru, but still the plan might as well not be going down because she is down, but still a lot of pressure onto that clash. Onto the Goyo. Shifte, able to find one more onto Pessy. Vertical efforts coming in with that spear. Not a gun you would expect on a vertical, but then again, with the diffuser on her hand, with the shield as well. The world belongs to the clash, and now it's gonna be World 2. Sorry, Words 2 Riv by, actually, yeah. I actually was taking some time to... Yep. Okay, nice pre-fire onto Oryx.
Riv is crazy. We've seen some crazy clips out of her in the last few weeks, but this would have to be the best of them. It will not be Secret able to get the shutdown, giving Wildcard Queens their third round, I believe. Does look like we are going to have a pause. I believe one of the players was unfortunately disconnected at some point there. So hopefully that won't take too long to get back in because Bloppy, obviously a very important member of this team and could actually be back pretty quickly here. Yesterday we had a couple disconnects that ended up returning very, very fast. So
I mean, in the end, you do not quite want to play 4v5 either because you do need exactly 5 players on the board because every single player, even it doesn't matter if you have kills or not, every single player in a game brings some values because in the end, even we know that R6's gameplay or strats do matter, but at the same time, the cost actually comes in a lot more factor. Your survivor, your supports, your dronings, they can come in handy. Without that one player, you're not only missing out on firepower, you're missing out on a particular special gadget, you're missing out on 2 drones, and maybe the utilities you bring on the board. Those includes your vertical, the breaching charges, your claymores, the nades, whatever you want to bring. So without those, your opposition does have quite the edge. So I'm not gonna be surprised.
Oh yeah.
So to have this on the board, so it's actually a better call to go in for a 5v5, even though on your rank games you may have a teammate who usually disconnects and you still go for a comeback regardless, but it's gonna be Bloppy who will be joining us within a matter of seconds. Yay. I believe she will. Yeah, she'll also get an operator because the pause timer is up and running. But what's it gonna be?
We have paused it just so that she's able to come back in, and we're happy to be able to just pause this and make sure that the game remains fair. It is unfortunate that we have to delay for a little while longer, but things happen. It's unfortunate. Siege X is not the most stable game of all time, but eventually everybody does get back in, and looks like we are going to be good to go pretty shortly here. Now, we're seeing something very similar to what we saw the first time we went to the basement site with the Mine Bandit, with the Bully Kaid, with the Cass Mozzie. But this time around, we see a couple differences. At least right now, we're seeing a Skolpos and a Castle. Now, what this says to me, or a Sentry rather, now what this says to me is that they don't feel that the Tubarão was entirely necessary last time around, so they're going to be using the Scopos just to be able to have a little bit more presence elsewhere on the map. They want a little bit more roam power, and I think that's a pretty good call for this team right now, because especially with Deimos off the board, they can get away with it.
That they can. And I do want to see exactly where Talos or Colossus is going to be placed, actually, because sometimes it can seriously be on an unexpected location and you can turn the tables around. But then again, your survival with the other robot is also important. You don't quite get two lives back to back, so that is exactly where you'll have to be careful. Yeah, the Deimos would have been a factor, but Deimos has been taken out completely. Instead, we will be having a Dokkaebi. So I guess that kind of brings a lot more pressure under the players who will be playing on the top floor side, or should I say anywhere other than basement. So how that's going to have an impact on the game. I want to see that Impala playing with fire, but if she can control fire, she will be a different version of Avatar, but never mind, it's going to be barricaded off after all. Don't quite see the castle anymore, so I guess it has been shifted for a bandit. Not sure if the bandit was on the board, but a very premature C4 deployed. Yule Lang
It was the
able to
sentry.
retreat off
It was the
their
sentry.
recruit. Oh, okay, never mind. But now Bloopy, quite a hungry push from her side. I would have expected to. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say, with Dokkaebi out of the picture now, it becomes a lot easier for Secret to be able to just have a successful roam here. Yuling on this gridlock wants to make it a little bit harder. So, just... It's a little difficult for Secret, and yeah, eventually she will get shut down. Scopos no longer a factor in this round, but still looking around for more picks here is Strike X. And I do also want to point out this Zero from Riv, one of my personal favorite characters in the game. I'm a Splinter Cell fan, so love to see it.
Man of culture, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Which one's your favorite? Most favorite out of Splinter Cell?
Blacklist.
Oh my god, proper man of culture. Us, but anyways, we're gonna talk about this later, buddy. Now we have 2v4 situation coming in, even though the Mozzie is pretty damn low on HP. No C4s left on the bandit side, and now the breach is coming in as well. The bandit needs to run away and probably take shelter behind that yellow pillar. Mozzie still outside of the objective, but I do love how the Zero is putting up pressure onto the basement. I believe the Mozzie knows, but she needs to find the proper location. That's all up to Mozzie on a very low HP situation. 3v1, as you referred. The fan can also go down, but I'm damn sure the diffuser is in the middle of nowhere, as the diffuser is still not going on the thermite. This will be able to pick that up. The covers are gonna be there. The smoke grenades, I do not quite see them dispatching, but they are not even necessary. The locations are revealed, and now the both Australian operators will see a standoff. The flashes are gonna be effective, and now they can just spam the flashes and go for the plan, but they are going for the kill, as they are hungry. But then again, greed may not be the best of it, but it's gonna be Yulang finally finding her best friend, Mozzie. I mean, according to the lore, at least. And finally, a bit more life coming from the side of Strike X. One more round to go to make it an equalization to go to their own half. Strike X. Good rounds coming in from their side, and I really hope and pray they keep it up.
Looking very solid here for Strike X. I mean, the attack went pretty darn well, and now we're going into the last round of the first half here. Wildcard Queens, they started this one up 3-1. They are more than capable of making this a 4-2 half and just potentially running away with this map. But Strike X, if they can equalize this and they go onto the defense on their map pick, I'm really liking their chances at taking this one away. So this is going to be a very pivotal round for both of these teams.
That's for certain. And now this time we do see a Tubara brought on the board because now they realize that the roam power is the roam work is working just fine. But on top of that, they do want to put a bit more manpower onto that objective side so that they can hold onto the breach as long as they can to go for the denial and maybe just maybe run down the clock and take the rounds for themselves. They do not want to share the driver's seat with their opposition quite yet. Appreciable and of course understandable. Nobody wants to share it. One round is gonna allow you to take a bit more flexibility moving on to the entire series as well. C4 positions are gonna be primed in, so undoubtedly we'll have some pre-placed ones, but I do wonder if the attackers are gonna be expecting that. Okay, interesting Cade electrical location to jam off that hatch as well. I didn't quite use it before, but dang, I will. Well, Moose is struggling
It's
with
insane
that
how much
camera, but yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say, it's insane how much you can learn just by watching really good players play this game, like interesting claw spots or camera
They're already
spots.
inside. Hello.
Wait, how did they get here so quickly? But multiple players fall. Strike X not able to find any purchase in any of these gunfights. Oh, it's a disaster. Less than a minute into the round and it's already a 1v5. At very least you know where they are because you're playing Dokkaebi and you can hear them. But, I mean, this is a tall task in front of you, Bloppy. You've got to hit every single DMR shot imaginable and you've already hit 2! 3 more. That's all you need. 3 bullets in a game like Rainbow Six Siege, but Wildcard Queens, I don't believe they're going to provide the opportunity here. Diffuser is down, but
You can hack the camera.
it's a matter of being able to get in. Nobody spotting that one out immediately, but eventually this is going to become a problem. Another usage of the logic bomb.
Good utilization.
Whole lot of damage dealt via the fire. Doesn't end up getting that kill onto Booley. And just like that, what was almost a disastrous timing turns into a round win for Wildcard anyway. And now we're looking at a 2-4 half in favor of Wildcard. But StrikeX finally on this defensive side. Maybe they can make something work.
I'm surprised how Wildcard expected that rush as well. Because think about it, they were able to pick up the players one by one after they dropped to the hatch of the lobby of southern entrance or password entrance, and after that, they had Goyo canisters as well in case a rush happened. The last Goyo canister is an indication how they read their opposition. They were ready for everything. And now,
Oh yeah.
with the bans coming in, I'm not quite surprised. These are kind of meta bans. Ace is something we see banned every now and then, but now with the Clash being banned, I do want to know how StrikeX is gonna counter. I mean, Clash is not quite necessary to go for any form of counters, but the aggression from the side of Wildcards, they knew exactly what to do with the Clash, and now they will take that card away from StrikeX to disable them to replicate anything similar. But I do see the Lord on the board, so I believe the Siege Gods are gonna favor the side of StrikeX. Even though I do miss that LMG a lot, my guy. I mean, she does have the card as well, actually, of Lord Tachanka.
So, I think this is actually very interesting because I was watching some content from Fett, the former coach of Beast Coast, the other day, and he was talking about how Tachanka actually sees a fair bit of use on this particular bomb site here on Top Floor Consulate. The ability to stall out the plant of the diffuser, particularly on that window behind the bookshelf where we saw the Amaru try and plant last time we were up here. His Molotovs are extremely good at preventing that plant from happening because of the way that his grenades bounce. So we could be seeing that here. It would not be shocking to me at all.
And you have 20 of them, not to mention you have 20 of them.
7 seconds
mean,
apiece
just-
with 20 of them is is a lot of stall power.
Yeah, exactly. So that's technically 1 minute 40 seconds. More than 2 minutes, so either you take care of the Tachanka or plant somewhere else. That's the only option you have when there's a Tachanka on the board, but for now it's gonna be
Loopy's
Aura
hard.
getting rid of Loopy early on, so no more Legion mines to worry about. aside from the ones which have already been deployed. But then again, Legion Mines are not that much of a factor to worry about. You just get slowed and you can just pull the pin away and you are good to go. But I
It's
do see
true.
a roaming dog. Reminds me of my rank day.
Oh!
Okay, nice shot from Words.
Whoa! Riv is I don't know how she won that fight, but that was insane. Manages to stay alive and escape with more than enough health. Obviously, Doc being able to just heal himself right back up to full is so strong. But what now becomes the factor is it's still a 4 versus 4. The Amaru is still alive, and this character is so good at getting these fast and aggressive plants down, and we might be about to see something
Are
like
they
that
gonna do it?
happen. Are they going for it? Cass is going up. I think they need to be a little bit cautious because they've still left characters like the Smoke, like the Tachanka on the board, but they know where both of them are right now thanks to the Grim. Those bees just letting everything, revealing the entire defensive setup right now. Yamaru's still in position, waiting for a good time here, but will eventually grapple up.
There's
Down
fire everywhere,
goes
man!
This lion, the fire's on the ground. This is exactly what I was talking about. Smoke as well to cut off
Nice
this
shot.
Grim, but does get the kill onto the bandit there. This is such a hard setup to break through. You're seeing exactly what I was talking about right now. This fire will
planting.
just prevent
They're
the
planting.
plant
They don't
for
know.
so
They have no
long,
clue.
but they're gonna get it down. Diffuser goes down anyway, and the Amaru lives. Manages to make it out alive despite that. Despite the setup being so hard to get through, Riv eventually falls, gets domed by Bully on the flank. It's just a matter of whether or not the Smoke and the Chanka can retake, but this isn't what the characters were designed for. They wanted to stop this plant from happening at all, and now the Smoke left in a 1 versus 3. Strike X in an impossible
Nice shot.
situation. Bully does fall, but with 2 players outside of that window and 7 seconds left,
There's no
there's
time.
no way Foe can get this done. Will be shut down by Secret, and Wildcard Queens are gonna take the first offensive round here on Consulate.
Gotta love how both the teams literally bought firepower on the board, and still it's going to be the side of the attackers utilizing it, even though they were under firepower because Capita only has 2 fireballs while Tachanka has 10 times more. But I have to love how Amaru found that narrow hole where the plan can go down, and sadly for Tachanka, she didn't have the information if there was a gap or not. But anywho, with 5-2 on the board, Wildcard Queens is surely but surely walking down with that victory on the first map. I'm having a lot of slips because I'm having a cast after such a long time. Holy moly, but still.
All good,
It's
dude.
going
You're
to
doing
be
great.
Danke. So, with that on the board, I do see a Blackbeard from Impala. Well, I kind of love how the side of wildcards are actually playing those operators specifically which have been banned or were banned by themselves. So it's going to be interesting for me to see how the side of Strike X expects this push. It is the exact same objective, so I'm pretty damn sure Ram is gonna be changed, as they were kind of expecting them to go for a basement, perhaps, but still can be utilized onto the yellow skylight if they want to take care of those barbed wires or whatever they want to put up there under the skylight. But never mind, still going to be a Ram after all, I guess. So, with that on the board, the defenders, they do feel a lot more pressure from the previous sets. One peek at Tim, who is gonna take the bait! Nobody ever
Ooh.
expected that!
They knew.
And now,
They knew.
and now, with the dog gone off the board, there's nobody to heal them in case things go wrong. And now, she's just gonna drop a chat. Headman of tungsten. I'm not sure if she made a shot, but at least on our screen,
She
didn't
did some
even
damage
react.
to the lion. She did
Okay,
some
yeah,
damage
yeah.
to the lion, but outside of that, there wasn't a whole lot going on there. Speaking of the lion, though, because that character's still alive, the EE1V is going to get immense value just to lock down the locations of these other 4 remaining operators. I do find it interesting, by the way, that StrikeX chooses to return to this second floor bomb site. I think it's a good decision. I think that the only reason you lost out last round is because you just barely missed the plant spot with your denial. But it's still just a very unfortunate situation that you're in right now to begin with. Obviously, this could be a 3-4 situation, but instead, they're down 3 rounds.
Huh? What happened
What?
here? I
How?
think she was
How?
trying to deny the plant sound using the ram tank, but instead it's gonna be a fatality. A proper fatality from Mortal Kombat. Ay, that's... Well,
I
that
prefer
happened.
Street Fighter.
I mean, I love you as well, but... Considering that she got into shreds
Ooh.
by that ram tank, the boogie. Oh boy.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate instance to happen there. But now we're
Nice
looking at
shot.
a bully with a crazy shot just done.
Timing.
Spots out the player there, but the Tachanka will be enough. Bully falls, and now it's Secret left in a 1 versus 3. 3 rounds up, so you can afford to give this one away, but damn, does it feel bad to. Flashbang goes in. If you're gonna find a
Nice
way
shot.
in, this is how you're gonna do it. Isolated 1v1 onto the Chonka. But you still have to find 2 more, and there's 30 seconds left to do it.
Why are
There's
you
so much time, but you will not be provided the opportunity. Yuling able to get the shutdown. And just like that, StrikeX are able to clap back.
Good clapback indeed, but I was kind of expecting that no matter win that gunfight, because on a 1v1 or a 1v2, it's best to play crossfires instead. But I guess the bandit really felt the confidence and took the gunfight to herself, and there you have it. The round is in their favor. This is an indication that StrikeX are not shy to go for these aggressive plays. Looking kind of good so far, but they'll need to keep this up for 2 more rounds at least to make sure they are having an equal ground. I do love to see a fuse on the board, and now I want to see exactly how this fuse play is going to go down onto that denial of the basement wall. Or the garage wall, actually, to be exact.
Swap.
I
Assuming
mean,
there's no swap, of course.
I hope not, kind of, because if you have a fuse, there's a very high chance you do not need to worry about any form of anti-breaches like Cades, mutes, or bandits. As a matter of fact, we do have a bandit, sorry, a Cade over here. So I believe this will not be changed unless they have something else on their heads. But I do prefer to have the IQ change for something else instead, because as I said, the fuse will not take any prisoners, whether it be players, whether it be utilities. So had they gone for a different operator, maybe perhaps a Buck or maybe a Ram or anything else, maybe it could have brought a lot more value, but it's okay. She does still have 2 grenades in case that fuse goes down, so you can go for those discount fuses. But I do love how the defenders are putting up a setup onto this piano side. This is not going to be easy to take control of this AO whatsoever, as they are taking theirs. They will have to use some utilities to flush out the place, especially the castle. Considering the fact that they do have an Ash on the board. But do you really want to use those breaching charges on those castles, where you can definitely use them elsewhere to deny those mirrors in particular?
There's a whole lot of interesting operators on the board right now. I think that one of the big questions I have is, where is this Frost playing exactly?
I love this.
Because obviously, this character is not super, like, highly played in the competitive scene of Rainbow Six, but eventually, we are going to see this fuse get to work. Those explosives just being sent down through the ceiling. Not sure if it's going to find any purchase here, but it is going to push people out of that room. Now with 90 seconds left in the round, only a little bit of damage has been dealt to Impala. No picks so far, but that could be about to change. We have some lurks coming up through Spiral. Riv takes a little bit of damage, but manages to slip away. Impala falls. No more Ash to speak of. Those breaching charges, not a factor anymore. Castle wall is going to be a whole lot more difficult to tear down now.
So Zofia is still very much alive, but she doesn't have any breaching rounds. She only has concussion ones. That makes life much more difficult. And I do not expect any of those thermite charges being utilized on the castle barricades because, come on. But in the end, it's going to be the IQ shining up brightly, getting up 2 of her own. And now, the defender has a lot of reasons to scratch their heads. Shots have been missed by the Cade, but now the presence will be given away. That's enough for the IQ to worry as well on the top floor control in case the Cade stays alive and up there. 30 seconds left on the clock, the last fuse goes in, and I'm damn sure the breach is going to be coming in, but no, wait a second, the thermite is pretty deep inside of the server side, nowhere to open up the hatch either. I wish the fuse had hard breaching charges to open up the hatch, but it's okay. Instead, she's going to be capitalizing on those breaches and the vertical angles, and now, no more breaching charges left either, and now with those kills as well, looks like the defenders, they have definitely turned the tables around. The fight's gonna be coming in. Cade is trying to keep herself alive, and now to the situation. The panic to go down. What the hell? What the hell did that IQ do with that fuse? Oh my goodness, that was not supposed to be winnable.
I mean, they just managed to win that with 2 players. They managed to win that with only 2 players left alive at 2v3. And Strike X cannot capitalize. The time constraint was just too much for them. And Wildcard Queens, they managed to take it at the last possible second. The last round of bans of the match. Going into what might be the last round overall. Blackbeard and Tachanka off the board. That's going to make playing second floor significantly harder.
The IQ with that double kill. She's a monster. Beautiful. She's a menace to society.
It was beautiful. Mine is gaming. Mine is gaming out of her mind.
She's not gaming. It's her domain. We're just living in it.
This is so true. It's too true. But we are going back to the basement here. I think this makes sense because, like I said, with Tachanka being banned, that's one of the few characters that can consistently pressure the plant spot on that grapple window behind the bookcase. So it makes a lot of sense that that they've chosen to ban Tachanka because that makes it so much more difficult for Strike X to pressure that site consistently. So we're forcing them back into the basement here, where the attackers just won. So it's going to be a difficult task for the side of Strike X to hold on to this one. Just any way you slice it, it's rough.
Tough times and desperate times always calls for desperate calls as well. I'm not sure if I said it correctly. I'm damn sure I didn't, but anywho, you get the gist of it.
It is measures, not calls.
Pressure.
But you were close.
That's what she said.
Desperate times, desperate measures. You were close.
But now with the pressure. Yep, thanks. And now with the pressure on the side of Strike X, I do want to see how they want to take this fight. They can deny as much as they can and try to take it to overtime, but still, it's double the rounds they already have. Make it happen. And now with the world belonging to the side of Wildcards, they will not show any form of stopping whatsoever. I love how the sled just had free entry on the top floor side and going for the verticals as well. There will be some contestants from the castle, I believe. Not sorry, it's the for Frost instead. But at least now the confirmations are there. But at least
Rivs down.
Yeah. The roamworks are not quite up to the mark here at the moment, but they certainly can put up a great fight over here. And I love how the fuse is opening up the angles from the second floor. She's not going for kills, she's going for the angles instead. A much more safer decision, but a much more promising one. I mean, going for the fuse on the piano wall, or the floor actually, a matter of fact, will go for kills, but instead she wants to create space for her team, and now the space just catches up to her as the defenders one by one just falls on the board, and now the breach is gonna be completely open for them to open up. The mirror windows no longer in effect either, my guy.
The Tubarao falling means that That hard breach wall is just completely open, but Strike X fires back. They get a couple kills onto Impala and Mine. No more Sledge, no more IQ. Gonna be a little bit harder to get in on this one. And I think that the big impact player here has to be Foe. Having the smoke canister still available is so important. She has to stay alive just to be able to deny this plant. She can do it with the help of the intel gathered from Mozzie and the wall denial and
HP.
further intel provided by the Mira. They have to know where everyone is at this point, or at least have a pretty decent idea. So the fuse up top from Wildcard going to try to lock down the locations of these
No,
players.
she knows. She has full information.
She's aware. She's aware. Finds the pick. Secret will not last any longer. Cass
Oh boy,
also
this
shut
is-
down. Uli in a 1v3.
No
For the map.
time.
With 5 seconds left, there's no time. The execute took a little bit too long. And you are not getting the rest of those kills. Strike X with a defensive round success down here on bottom floor. The real question now becomes, where do they go from here? Because like I said, top floor becomes extremely difficult at this point. But it may end up being the option anyway. It looks like it will.
Might as well be, but it all comes down to the factor that how they adapt on the fly. Truth be told, I love how Strike X burned the time down and they were able to keep themselves alive. The exact same thing happened previously, but last time it was the IQ fragging out of her mind. So that's something they were able to deal with this time, and they were able to survive a little bit longer, keeping themselves alive on their opposition's match point and map point. This is the momentum they kind of need to keep themselves in the map for the time being. I know they still have one more map, at least one more map, picked by themselves on the map of Clubhouse. As you referred, that is their best map so far. But do you really want to risk having your opposition a map comfortably? And do you really want to push it to the third map? While you can just take the first map and make the pressure be on the opposition side where they are pushed to take it to the third map. I mean, in the end, when it comes to competitive play, it's not what you do in the game, your frags, whatever. From what I believe, the game starts when you set for the map bans. You choosing a particular map can or cannot make your victor play or losing play. So it may technically make it or break it, but wildcards. Is it just a stumble on their momentum? Exactly. Is it a stumble on their momentum, or will they be able to pick themselves right back up? Same setup once again, but this time the Deimos will be taken off very quickly. The hunter has been hunted.
I mean, that's just a disastrous first pick. A Strike X, that's exactly what you needed. Deimos off the board means that you don't have that pressure of having any of your roamers hunted down immediately. He didn't even have time to use his gadget there. So you still have no idea where anybody is. You need to drone out. You need to do it effectively and quickly. But you've lost out on your Hibana as well. The early aggression in this round from Riv on this Jaeger has paid off immensely, and eventually she will fall. But she's done her job in spades.
Exactly.
Now you're looking for anything at this point if you're Wildcard Queens. This is going to be one of the most difficult attacking rounds you've been presented with so far. Down a player below them on this in the map. No reliable way to get up to the site. No reliable way to clear angles. And the Goyo is going to cause so many problems of just even approaching, as is the smoke.
Nice shot.
With Cat, yeah, that was beautiful. Cass can't get anything done either, so it's a 3 versus 1 now. Secret is a phenomenal player, but likely not going to be able to do anything about this round. 3 versus 1. Best you can hope for is a couple more frags, but 48 seconds left in the round. You would need a miracle at this point.
Shots.
And that's a good start to one. Shift A falls. 2 more players to get through. Flash goes out. There's pressure on these players, but Bloppy hits the shot that continues Strike X's run through this map, potentially bringing us 1 round closer to overtime. This is the final round of regulation. If Strike X can take this, we're going all the way.
I kind of believe we are gonna be going all the way after all, because the way Strike X are holding on to this, and now they're playing aggressive as well. Wildcards kind of need to rethink their decisions this time around, but hopefully they do have an unorthodox objective on exposition and piano. So how do they want to take this objective in particular? We have seen the players of Wildcards taking a real easy control on the top floor, especially on that projector side. But this time, it's definitely gonna have some presence on top. And matter of fact is that Wildcards, they're really running out of time this time around, so they'll have to make sure they are counting the timers. Every second matters this time around, otherwise Strike X, they're looking forward to make this happen. From the looks of it, they will go for an extension onto the pillar side as well. I kind of love what I see here, because if they are putting themselves up on this pillar side, right, they are holding on to that never mind, I kind of expected them to hold on to the reception as well, even though the main door could have been contested, but it's still a death sentence. But I guess they do want to make sure that in case a plan goes down, they can still have a longer line of sight onto the default plan spot on the shelves of exhibition. But regardless, no spawn pick attempts coming in from the side of the defenders quite yet. But I'm damn sure the attackers are not going to let it go that easily, because they can expect some form of aggression. Early drones coming in, the castle is still very much alive and on the top of the floor, and there you have it, 2 players spotted out, including the Vigil with the Boss G. Now, where do you take the entry?
Spawn peak.
We didn't see that though, sadly, but you know,
damn,
it does hit like a truck. From the Vigil side at least. You can go for a chest shot and it's still gonna down a player with 125 damage to the chest.
Ooh. Foe goes down. It's a bad start for them. But it's just a matter of getting in now. This time around, you do still have Secret alive and well on this Deimos. So, not going to be a problem yet. You can still lock down at least 1 player's location. And that makes this entry so much easier. Especially depending on who it is. If you're able to lock down that Solus, for example.
Does she not know?
Is she not aware? Oh,
yep,
no, losing out on mine. She wasn't aware. Impala down as well. But you know that the Vigil is here. Bully's out of the picture. Oh, no, it all comes apart. Wildcard Queens. Not going to have an easy way into it, but they find 2 regardless. Secret and Cass versus Shift A and Bloppy.
1 HP, both of them.
Down to the wire at this close, but you know where the castle is. You know he has low health. He's been tagged up so much. Cass on this really weird angle. Just looking to find any purchase anywhere on this site. 50 seconds left. Flash goes out. They need this kill, and they need it now.
How does it
Shift manages to get it, but the trade is there. 1 versus 1. Buffy and Cass. All that remains on this team. 35 seconds. Sight downstairs, and you have a decent idea. But now you know that the Nomad is shooting through the hatch. There has to be any type of engagement taken, but with only 15 seconds left, Cass, you just have to run in. If you win this duel, we are going to map 2. You have taken it. But if you lose it, we need to be here for at least 2 more rounds on Consulate, and it will not stop here. Bloppy managing to stay composed, stay patient, and find the kill. We're going to overtime.
battle's far from over, and now they are on exact equal grounds. The bands will be reset according to the side of Wildcard. I mean, from the first half at least. And now we didn't quite see the C4, but anyways, we did get the information that the C4 was missed because of a particular reason. But anywho, now Strike X. As they have the momentum in their hands, and now they're also on defense, I do want to see how they plays this half of their own. Because I can see how Strike X can manage their own time while Wildcard kind of struggles. But it's okay. If they realize that they can keep up the pace and make it quick, they might just be able to get away with it. We will be having some friendly chats coming in, but then again, it's not going to be something which will be brought into the equation quite yet. With the Flores on the board, I want to see exactly how this take will go down. I didn't quite see too much of a pressure on the yellow side because personally, I feel like that if you push onto the yellow stairs, even if you just stay on the skylight, you can still cut off multiple rotations from the defensive side, and that's exactly where Consulate is a little bit more difficult to defend if you want to rotate as a roamer. Because two of your stairways can be covered from outside. The only safe place is the Visa stairs, but then again, that's something that attackers still have not quite figured out, but it's okay. As long as they're getting the frags, as long as they're making sure the time is in their favor, they will not be punished for it. Lion will do exactly that. We're playing upside down on that particular area, but will anybody take the bait? I kind of feel that the Goyo knows. Yes, she does, and she will take some damage. The Vector, not even though it is the little brother of the V308, will not find that much of a success.
Does manage to escape though, so at least for now, Shift A lives to fight another day. It's just a matter of getting in on this site now. The Maverick brought just to be able to get through this reinforced barricade without needing to break that bandit battery, so it's massive stuff coming out from this operator choice, and Impala is the first to fall. Flores will not be getting that much value out of this round, unfortunately, so EE1D once again online. Mine is able to find the trade back onto Shift, but Bloppy does get a successful nitro kill this time around. Spamming through that wall just to try to get a little bit more damage done, but Mine falls. It's essentially a 1 versus 4, and Strike X is just gonna finish that off so swiftly. Strike X on this second half has just looked phenomenal. Roles are swapped once again, so 7-6, Strike X. They have an opportunity here to end the map. But Wildcard Queens, I mean, they're back on the defense. There's no way they're going down easily.
They will not. And so far, it's pretty much evident that both the teams are extremely strong on the defensive side. Let's see if Wildcards can live up to that reputation as well, as they will be bringing up the Clash once again to burn the times, which was not applicable or available from the side of Strike X. It is going to be a top floor defense, so they might be expecting some of them to go for a bit more of a window focused play, but I don't think it's going to be the case with those hard reaches on the board. Unless they want to go for a full-on admin take, maybe go for a control onto the copy room and then attempt to take the long hallway, then go for the yellow corridor as a split side, then it may work out, but then again, where is going to be the clash placed? That may make it or break it, but we do see a swap onto the Flores and the Maverick, so maybe the clash is not going to be that much of a factor here, because in case the clash lets the shield go, that shield can be destructible. So with that,
Very true.
exactly how the defenders are gonna take this fight. I do see a really well-mannered, fashioned spread onto the entirety of the top floor. Okay. I know what she's up to. Meleeing those covered areas to go for a prep. Nobody might expect that, but a little slither of that barricade has been popped off. So if an eagle-eyed attacker sees that, that may not work out. Oh. I do hear some gunfights happening in the distance from Bloppy as well with the DMR, but I guess these are just barricade actions going in. There will dive in. Oh, never mind. She didn't quite dive in yet. Drones will be coming in, and now the clash will be in the vicinity of copy room. One tap's coming in from the side of the the recruit or striker. Make sure the connector windows are gonna remain clear for the time being, but strikers, they surely are playing it slow.
Want to take their time here. If they want to be able to close out the map here, then they have to be able to play patient. There's so much on the other side of the server that slows them down. Operators like Clash, like Goyo, like the Mute, and plus you have no idea really where this Warden is. But now you have a decent idea of at least where the Goyo is. As Striker falls, no longer able to bring any of that utility that he brings in spades to any team at the cost of a gadget. But either way, right now,
C4 misses!
Dire Straits. C4 just barely misses. Strike X down a player on the attack here, so the manpower just becomes so difficult to overcome. And now Mine falling very low, but still not dying. On 16 kills on this map, by the way. She is going nuclear. Make it 17. Riv falls. And it looks like we might be going all the way. 3 more kills and we're going around 15.
Probably are at this point because the attackers are really going extra slow. Understand they're respecting their opposition strategy, but but they don't even have much time when you think about it because they still have 5 defenders to worry about against their 3. Fights needs to come in, spaces needs to be created, and then he needs to go for the plant in case they want to extend the time, make it in their own favor. The fires will be dispatched, but it's not gonna do too much of a damage. It's gonna be Secret and Impala capitalizing. It's all up to Sweet, the Sweet foe. She's gonna go down as well. And ladies and gentlemen, as my guy said, it is going through the 15 round. I'm not sure if it's gonna be maximum unlimited over time, but I think it's just one more round, or is it? I don't know actually.
It is gonna go. This will be the final round. This will do it. Okay. This will determine who wins the first map here. I cannot believe we are getting around 15 on the first map of the day. This is absolutely unreal. And obviously, this is going to determine so much momentum going into Clubhouse, which Wildcard Queens will probably win, but I don't know. Yesterday we said the same thing about Kitten Queens on their map pick of Chalet, and Strike X managed to win that one in a thrilling 15-round game and managed to win the third map as well. So Strike X could surprise us on both of these maps. It's very possible. It's just a matter of this round just being so important for both of these teams. Somebody will be down a map after this one, and that will determine so much momentum.
The momentum will definitely be carried on the second map, and if the team can follow up to that momentum, or should I say, if they can turn around the momentum, they can push the third map as well. But now it's anybody's game if you think about it. Standard setups coming in from both of the sides, nothing too surprising. Truth be told, I love the aggression on the side of Wildcard. Sorry, from the side of Strike X. Nobody spawned on the police barricade, sadly, so there's nobody to be seen for the time being. So she's gonna be a little sad to see no values whatsoever, but still, we'll try to verify if there's anybody on the vicinity. There was somebody, some shots did come in, but nobody was damaged. Secret.
Do it again.
We'll dare her to do it again. There you have it. Is she gonna do it though?
This is a very
Oh my god, the taunt! The taunt!
You won't. This is a very interesting composition I'm seeing here from Wildcard. We are seeing a Jackal. Not a character I get to see super often, but the Fuse as well, back for another showing, and the Nomad. Just a very, very atypical composition here, going for a basement attack. And I am very interested to see how this goes, considering the characters we are seeing on the side of Strike X for this defense. Going all the way down to the basement, but wanting to take top floor control. There's a couple players up here, specifically, I believe, Impala playing up here already. But words to Rivby on this vigil. Still on the top floor. Has not left this whole time.
I love
Shots
that
come through.
strategy, by the way. I love how they kept one well soft to make sure the mirror windows are lot more effective. Okay.
Impala's
At
down.
least he's down. At least he's down. There you have it.
Impala's
Okay,
down.
okay.
A trade comes out elsewhere, but I don't think they're going to be able to pick up this.
No!
Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Secret. Able to hold that angle. Riv not available that anybody was not available. Oh no. 3 players now alive on Strike X. And Impala managing to live for at least a little bit longer. All they have to do is find 3 kills in the next 45 seconds. And they're doing what they can to force the Mira out of position. Forced to run away. Fuse so good at displacing enemy operators.
Nice.
But someone peeks directly into the line of sight. Secret. Don't. Bullet to the brain. You're out. No more impact on this map. More shots come through. 20 seconds remain though. Thermite has the smoke grenades down. Goes for the plant, but gets annihilated by the nitro cell. Impala is all that remains. 10 seconds left, and she will be shut down. The first map will go to Strike X in 15 rounds. A little close for comfort on your own map pick, but we take those. I mean, it's
good
stuff.
God.
It's just beautiful. It's beautiful Siege being played all around, Cresto. I'm impressed by both teams. Like, thoroughly and utterly. Phenomenal gameplay on both sides there. Despite, you know, a couple flubs here and there. Dying to your own ram drone is unfortunate, to say the least. But
I mean, oopsies happen from their side, of course, but on top of that, they were able to, capitalize as well on both of the sides, because when you think about it, it was a very much WC dominated side on the early game, but it is the Strike X side who were able to bring it back on the late game, especially on their own defense. So I'll have to give the credits to them. But then again, these are just tidbits they'll know and learn throughout the entirety of the game, especially the Ram side, as you said, because damn sure the Ram drone was deployed to burn some audio cues, but in the long run, it wasn't effective at all. Instead, it took its own owner's life. I mean, we've always seen some scientific definitions where the what's it called? The inventions took the life of its inventor. So I guess that's just another occasion of that. But then again, it's just one map of the board, and I'm damn sure both of the players or the teams will bring their A game on the next map, which is gonna be Clubhouse as well. So I'm kind of interested to see how Siege X is actually going to be played out, because this is a reworked map, Gatster. So, how are these utilities going to be utilized? Because as I said, Consulate was not reworked, as I was rethinking on the beginning of the game. But the rest of the game maps we have on the entirety of the best of 3 series, Chalet, in case we have it on the board, that is, they are indeed rework, and they have a lot more utilities and a lot more values for a couple of operators. For example, with the smokes, you can play glass as well without utilizing any of your smoke grenades. You can deny plants as well, because there are some walls where you can put up Capcan traps, or maybe just put up some more traps to deny a chain reaction, or create a chain reaction to deny the plants as well. So how are those maps going to be utilized? That's what I want to see from these players.
It'll be a fascinating thing for sure. I think that Clubhouse will be a massive indicator. Obviously, if Strike X managed to take the upset here, it's all over. Like this grand finals just ends on the spot right now. If we go all the way to Chalet though, I think that Strike X is in a pretty good position there as well, because like I said, they managed to take that map yesterday against a very good Chalet team. Granted, it took 15 rounds, but hey, a win's a win. We'll take those every day of the week. So anyway you slice it, we are going to be going into our second map pretty shortly here, I believe. I don't know if we're going to cut to a break. We are going to cut to a brief break, so don't go anywhere, y'all. Map 2 on the way.
ladies and
Clubhouse will be
gentlemen.
the second battleground here in our grand finals matchup. Once again, I am Gedster. Joining me is Cresto, and I totally did not realize that we were both trying to open that show there. Haha, my fault.
Well, it was actually me. I should have told you early on. So
All good, all good. It's just what happens when you commentate with someone for the first time. It's all good. It's all good. No worries. But yeah, we will
we
be going to Clubhouse second. Now, this is Wildcard Queens' map pick. This is a map they are extremely good at. Extremely good at. But we've seen some insane things from Strike X in the last few weeks. So this could still go either way.
very much true, because when you think about it, Clubhouse is indeed a very OG map. I mean, it was the first ever map we reworked on Operation Chimera, if I'm not wrong. So a lot of people are extremely familiar with the map as well. I mean, when I talk about Siege in general, I believe that Clubhouse and Oregon are the bread and butter of Siege when it comes to competitive play. I know people will say House, but House is not in competitive play, so that's gonna be out of the equation. But this map is pretty much well played by every single player, not teams, but players, because everybody knows what happens in the game. But now with the new changes on the board, which team started it the best, which I said several times on the last game as well. So that brings us to the factor that who did these explorations, if I may, on this particular map, so that they can have those advantages or the utilities in their favor. I mean, I've seen a lot of players usually destroying some form of utilities as defenders on the prep phase because they know they can be utilized by the attackers. For example, the red on the red stairs, there is a fire extinguisher. If you keep that up, and if an attacker sees that, you can take control of red stairs with extreme ease with a twitch drone or anything else, because that blocks off one angle and allows you to take control of the site if you're playing against on a CCTV defense. So these are just little things they'll have to keep in mind. I mean, both the teams will have to, but one thing which I've seen popping up quite a lot here is the defenders are shining their brightest. It's undoubted. Both the teams are extremely comfortable and confident on their defenses. And if they can keep
Oh
the streak
yes.
up, probably it's gonna be the same thing which happened on the previous map. Probably an overtime as well. But I do want to see how the attacks take place, how the take of the map goes down, how will we see the flanks cut off, and how does the plan go down, and most importantly, how is the time managed by both of these teams? Because oopsies aside, that was something both of the teams needed to focus a bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And everything you just said is right, but now I'm a little sad because you mentioned Oregon being a staple of competitive play, and I miss Oregon. I miss Oregon.
I
That map
mean,
was so cool. Like what? I'm still so sad they took it out of the comp rotation. It is a true
yeah,
tragedy, the
right.
likes of which Siege has never experienced before. Hopefully one day we get it back, but until that day, we remember it fondly. But it is as you say, I would love to see the attacking sides on these maps go a little bit better for both of these teams, because obviously the moment defense comes around, you just see the teams get way more comfortable. Wildcard Queens, I think they were up. They had like a 4-2 half after the first half, and we still managed to go all the way to round 15. It was a very unfortunate situation for them to be in. They were on match point. I think they were up 6-2. Was it 6-3 or 6-4? One of those. But they ended up giving up every subsequent round and allowing us to go to a 6-6 scoreline and eventually 7-7. And then they let it slip away at the very end there. And just a whole lot of very small mistakes on the attack side is what ended up leading to that. So I do want to see them clean it up a little bit. And again, this is their most comfortable map. If there's a place where they can clean up their attacks, make it look a little bit more comfortable, it's definitely Clubhouse.
I believe the same as well, because in the end, it is their own map. I mean, from the side of wildcards, that is, it is their own map pick. So I do want to see a bit more of a up performance from their side. And now, as the pressure is on their side as well to push it to the third map, there's a very high chance they will make sure there are no prisoners surviving. But at the same time, I'm damn sure that Strike X is not gonna let that slide whatsoever. They're gonna make sure that they are having the best of it. But in the end, it's gonna all come down to the fact that how does the game go down? How often they have the coordinations on point. And I mean, I'm not saying that the oopsies are not acceptable, but they are some things
Mhm.
they'll have to watch out as well, because sometimes they can be the demise of the entire game. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, we will be heading into the game as the game is going down, as probably will be having the ban phases as well. Yeah, indeed. So, which operators will be taken out from these players? I'm not expecting any form of target bans, because no team play a particular character or an operator so dominantly that it needs to be taken out of the equation completely. So I kind of believe that instead they will try to make sure the strategies are gonna be taken out of the equation. So yeah, not very surprised to see a Habana and Mira
Yeah.
banned. So the hatches will have a much more difficult time to be opened up. As Mira, no surprises to be sorry to see her banned here, because especially on the gym bedroom side and sometimes on the basement side, Mira is played quite a lot.
Oh yes. Now, the question I have here is about these second bans. They are going to come through. It's going to be Ying and Kaid. Okay, Kaid actually makes a lot of sense here. I think that you were mentioning that hatches are going to be harder to open. So a response ban to Kaid makes it so that things become a little bit easier for them, right? They only have to deal with potentially like a Tubarao in terms of that, or maybe some kind of an impact trick. But any way you slice it, hatches will be easier to open in this instance, and we are going to be starting in Church Arsenal down in the basement. So hatches are potentially going to be pretty prevalent here in round one. Strike X defending, Azami still on the board, and we are going to see Sweet Foe on that character.
Not very surprised to see a basement defense considering the bans on the board. And of course, they're not going to have too much of an effort to open up the vertical angles or the hatches, whatever. But in the end, is it only going to be a hatch push, or is it going to have some pressure onto the tunnel, the dirt tunnel side as well, or should I say the main stairs as well? Because when it comes to Hibana in general, you are allowed to open several hatches. Now with the thermite on the board, yeah, you can open up. Okay, I am damn sure that was not intended to destroy that gadget, but still, the line of sight was quite important, so understandable that they don't quite need that particular utility to be deployed. But anywho, as I was saying, so an Ace we wait a second, we don't even have any hard breachers? Question mark. I mean, we do have can openers on the
Hmm.
equation from Bully and maybe from the Sense as well, but okay. Fortune favors the bold. This is gonna be something I'll have to explore by
It does look
myself.
it does look like there are two operators with can openers on this team, so there will be at least some form of hard breach here. It's just a matter of how effective can it really be? You have to be able to get in on this one. So not having those operators makes it very difficult, and even approaching the site becomes very difficult because you've left an operator like Azami on the board. This character can just stall for so long and shift the terrain to her advantage. One of the main entry points here is going to be dirt. We are going to see the Grim of Booley putting up one of these hard breach charges on that wall. So not a huge surprise there.
With the tunnel being opened up, I do expect someone to go for the kitchen hatch as well, but C4 is just something I'm kind of afraid of. Never mind, there's only one C4 available from Valve. The camera was there in the vicinity, but it has been taken out by the drone, not the IQ. I mean, it was marked at least, but still. Now it does open up a lot more space for the attackers on the top floor. The defenders are just watching the cameras as the times go by, not giving any gunfights to the attacker side, because they know they struggle on the time management, so does their opposition. So if they can just keep themselves alive, they will have to throw bodies inside the objective, and they'll have to take their fights head on. The tunnel will be opened up from two sides to create confusion if there are anybody in the vicinity playing tunnel. We will be seeing a Rev getting rid of Eris. I think a sub has been swapped from the looks of it. Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
As it
So-
was unfortunately stated earlier, Mine is not able to stay for the entirety of this series, so Eris All-Star
sad.
is here to be the sub. Unfortunate situation for sure. You hate to see it in every instance, but eventually This is why we have substitute players for, and hopefully Eris is up to the task. I look forward to seeing how she performs going forward. But either way, Wildcard Queens down a couple players now. Eris and Cass off the board. No more sense is important because now you don't have that gadget to cut off lines of sight. Strike
Timing.
X is doing phenomenally right now. Up 4-2, only losing out on your Malusi so far. But with 22 seconds remaining in the round, Secret and Bully need to hit every single shot. The fire is
That's
going
what
to
I
make
love
it very
to see,
difficult. No
actually.
Secret. And Bully 1v4 with 10 seconds left. It won't happen. Yuli will close out the round. And just like that, StrikeX taking the first round on Wildcard's map pick.
I love how StrikeX just held on to their breaths and made sure that nobody nobody just goes down. I mean, the Melucid, even though she went down with a frag on her pocket. So that's not something you can punish her, point a finger at. But the main point is StrikeX. They know that they can burn time, and I love how the Hibana was trapped inside of. No, not the Hibana. I think it was someone trapped inside the motorcycle, taken out by the Valkyrie. Truth be told, she had no other way to escape except for the hallway, but that was also covered up by the Valkyrie because of the canister blocking off the entrance. As I said, this is where Siege X takes place. We have been playing Rainbow Six Siege, but Siege X, it's still a very new thing. And now going for a gym bedroom defense. Yeah, what? Sorry?
It's the new hotness. That's all I was saying.
Exactly. But now, that's one way to say
Fairly
it. But
standard gym bedroom. Fairly standard gym bedroom here stuff here. The castle and the bandits protect that wall in the hallway just outside of the gym. Rotate holes punched through that wall as well, so going to be fairly standard stuff here. Just no real outliers. Mute, Azami, both make sense for this hold. Jaeger makes a lot of sense for this hold, just to be able to prevent grenades from destroying the barricades or the bandit batteries. So the approach here, Wildcard Queens have opted for a Blackbeard, a Zofia, and a couple other operators that will be very interesting to see going forward in this one. So
I kind of want to see if there are any ADSs on the jacuzzi wall. Because sometimes people just toss a grenade through the drone hole and they just find everything they want.
I think there is one there.
There will be. Probably.
But the Maverick,
No.
the Maverick is going to be the bigger problem than the grenades.
Castle.
I like this position from Riv, despite the fact that it's on the opposite side of the map from where the bombs actually are. This just stalls out so much of what Wildcard Queens wants to do. They can't really approach as it stands. Sightlines cut off. Siege X adding those fire extinguishers. The ability to shoot them for that completely obscured sightline. Impala will be the first to fall. No more shield on this side. Cassiopeia, she'll be next.
Love how the defenders are playing off each other's bodies and still not losing anyone. But then again, they were able to make sure it goes avenged. Salted Bully now as Eris is on the floor. She has to push in, maybe find a frag. Yes, she will, but it's gonna be a down instead. It's gonna be the Jaeger finding the value. Good God. It was not a very long-lasting round when you think about it, but in the end, the defenders, they surely know what they're up to, and the attackers, they're still left scratching their heads for the time being, as they're yet to find an answer. The third round coming in, it is going to be a CCTV catch defense. Yeah, go on.
I was going to say yesterday during the semifinals, I was about to mention, but during that series, I brought up the fact that before we got to Chalet, I thought it was interesting that StrikeX let that float through knowing it was Kitten Queens' best map. But they ended up winning that map, and I'm kind of starting to wonder if it's a similar situation here. If you know that Clubhouse is on the board, why would you not ban it, knowing that this is Wildcard's best map? And so far, I mean, they're up 2-0. So far, they're up 2-0. I don't want to make any early assumptions here. Obviously, the game still has a long way to go. We're only 3 rounds in so far, but if Wildcard Queens can't get any rounds going on the attack here, then they might be looking at like a 4-2, a 5-1 would be a disastrous, essentially. But if they can get like 3 of these attacking rounds, I think they can take this away. But StrikeX seem just as comfortable on this map as they did Chalet yesterday, as they did Consulate just a few minutes ago. So, I mean, thus far, they're just playing this map extremely well.
So far, so good, but it is still 2 rounds, but I mean, I still gotta give credit where it's due. But I kind of feel like that the attackers, they're not quite able to find their footing yet, because you might have seen it, Gad, that is, most of the times the attackers, they do walk in a particular objective, they are taking space, but there's not too many people to capitalize on it. For example, we saw the Blackbeard contesting against the castle for X amount of time on the red stairs, but I understand that the Blackbeard is not in a position where she can deploy, get away with the shield, or put the shield down to go for a gunfight. But where's someone else? The Blackbeard can bring up nades as well to make sure there's nobody in the vicinity of the stairways. Castle can be cut off that easily. I mean, could have been cut off easily, but it's okay. Sometimes you do have those nerve-wracking moments, and you just don't feel like yourself. But it's okay so far, as the attackers will finally take some solid control on bedroom. That's what I believe, though. Castle breakers are gonna be there. If they can take construction, they can probably take a good chunk of control of the red stairs as well, forcing the players to play inside of CCTV. I do see a construction take that is looking pretty damn good so far. And now, if they can squeeze the players outside of red, they should be just fine taking control of garage as well, probably. And then if they're allowed, they can take control of the breach as well. I do see a C4 attempt from the Tubarao. Bloopy able to get rid of Secret here. And now, that's exactly how they lose control of logistics in a matter of... Wait a second, both the players are gone within the vicinity of gym bedroom.
2 players down immediately. Wildcard Queens losing numbers fast, and this begins to look extremely rough for them. Eris is still over here. The entry from this side of the map has just not gone particularly well.
I knew that!
Oh, and gets hunted down while droning! 1 versus 5, and Cass will not be able to find anything. StrikeX completely shutting down the attack of Wildcard Queens right now. It is not looking pretty for the favorites on this map.
I
mean, what do you even ban here?
That was so unfortunate for the Lion. The moment she switched to the camera, I knew she's not gonna make it because it always makes an audio cue.
No.
Oh god.
Very unfortunate situation. Yeah. Blackbeard and Valkyrie off the board.
Operation Dustline gone.
Is Blackbeard...
Basically both operators of Dustline, yeah, both of them off Operation Dustline.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if the Valkyrie was the right operator to ban here. I am not entirely sure if that was the most pressing issue for this team. I mean, Blackbeard ban makes sense, but Valkyrie? Like, you could have banned out Jaeger, perhaps? Or Azami? But, I mean, trust the process. I trust this team. I've seen Wildcard Queens play some absolutely absurdly good Siege, but I don't know. That ban confuses me a little bit. Maybe you can provide some insight.
I mean... I'm not gonna say Blackbeard was oppressing by any means, but I kind of feel like that StrikeX doesn't want the chance to be given to the side of Wildcard by any given moment, because on the previous map, the Blackbeard was still a prominent factor, even though, as I said, the attackers always struggled. So that's all the insights I have, because in the end, it's not any particular operator which have been dominating the entire game so far, so it's really hard to point fingers at this point. Valkyrie, however, okay, I understand that Strikex did play Valkyrie on this basement defense. They were ready for C4s, but at the same time, you are playing an IQ, so
Yeah,
I don't know actually.
it is a little strange, but anyway you slice it here, Strike X in a very advantageous position, but nothing really. I mean, not finding anything yet is Wildcard Queens, and I'm not sure if their ban onto the Valkyrie was the correct ban to take in this situation, but anyway, slice it. What's done is done, so they'll have to live with that decision for the next 3 rounds at least. Potentially even more if we end up going to overtime, but right now, StrikeX do not look like they want to take us there at all.
It's like an almost identical push if you ask me, but it's a lot more methodical in my opinion because they are putting up a lot more effort on the verticals as it seems. Barbed wires on the hat, so not quite sure what purpose it served exactly because I mean I know the barbed wires can definitely do some damage and of course it does give away a sound if someone's trying to destroy it while meleeing it, but I don't see any C4s either, so interesting. But anywho, we will be seeing Warriors getting rid of the Ram early on. So as it seems, the defenders are still going to stay true to their motto, not giving out bodies but taking if they can. A roaming Doc, still very much alive, allowing herself to heal herself as well. Bully getting down on the pre-fire. Good reads, I have to admit it now. He's just using all the smokes to make it a smoker's heaven.
Yeah, Cass.
Probably Hunter's gonna be there, but never mind. It will still be Riv.
Riv.
She's not taking any prisoners tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
10 kills. 10 kills so far in the first 4 rounds of the game. She simply cannot be stopped. There is so little that they're able to do about this. Eventually, she does get stopped, but it took a while. 4 versus 2 now. It's just the Zofia and the Fuse. I liked a couple of the ideas we saw from these guys earlier, but Eris will fall. She cannot make it any further than these stairs. Secret with the diffuser in hand. In 10 seconds left in the round, there is 0 chance of this round being a victory for Wildcard Queens. Strike X with another successful defense. I would like to remind everyone watching at home, this is the map pick of Wildcard Queens. And they are taking a timeout here after losing 4 rounds in a row. Honestly, you need to. You really need to. Nobody on this team has more than 1 kill right now. It feels like they just do not have any momentum. Anything they could have had here was stifled completely in round 15 on Consulate.
It does feel like the side of Strike X are definitely carrying the momentum in a manner we didn't expect, but it is looking impressive. But Wildcard Queens, 4 rounds are not the end of the world. They can still go to their own defensive rounds and they can definitely make it turn around because, as I said, the defenders are still very much prominent in the entirety of the series so far. And I do believe after this first timer, they will be able to get themselves on the same page of the book. Drink some water, stay hydrated, and take it easy, take it slow, because it does feel like that the players of Wildcards are throwing bodies at the side of StrikeX, and they're just capitalizing on it. 2 more rounds, and you're still gonna be fine going in for your own defensive rounds because you did the same thing to your opposition, even though it was StrikeX who had the advantage. And now, on an attack on gym and bedroom, again, a very standard pick from the attacking side. They are not bringing something which scratches my head quite a lot. Actually, the same applies to the defensive side as well, now that I think about it. But what I do want to see is how does the take onto the CCTV goes down? Because last time it was Riv, again, holding onto the red stairs, and she was technically safe. Nothing to be worried about. Is it gonna happen again? I don't think so because the Blackbeard is not in the equation anymore. So gunfights will definitely go down. There will not be any awkward staring competition going down this time around. But in the long, okay. There might be some staring competition after all because I do see a blitz being brought by Cassie. Bully will be picking up
And
that thermite. So not the worst of it because
And
now at least
Iana.
with blitz you can rush in. Yeah, go on.
We have an Iana as well. That's interesting. Don't get to see that very often, but other than that, I mean, I think you said this earlier. This is the exact same composition we saw StrikeX run on the defense last time they were on Gym Bedroom. They are extremely comfortable on these operators. More than happy to just run it back. But yeah, Wildcard Queens with some unconventional stuff. Blitz, as you say, not someone we see super often. Yana, not a super common entry frag these days. You much more, at least in this tournament, we've been much more likely to see operators like that Ash, for example. Just, I find this very interesting.
I love what I see.
Oh, I dig it.
I love how they took.
I'm just like
I love how they
fascinated.
took control. Yep. I love how they took control of Red Chairs. It's a matter as if we're just watching an episode of Tom and Jerry as the castle made a run for it, but now I do wonder Fazami's gonna make it alive. She's gonna be flushed. There's two for the price of one, but no! She goes down to the crossfire. Oh, she's a monster in the
no.
castle.
Cass going down is disastrous. That's your front line here. That's your primary method of pushing in here. Just completely out of the picture. Eris,
What are you doing,
sub
Castle?
but gets instantly downed. I love the plan. I love the aggression with this shotgun, but not gonna be enough in this instance. 3 versus 3. You've done your job if your words to Riv by or Bloppy. Lots of manpower down on both sides of this game, though. It's just a matter of being able to enter into this site from the other side of the second floor now. They don't even want to deal with the hallway just outside of gym there. They just want to be able to get into this site through the rest of the second floor. And eventually, they will be on the approach. But with 30 seconds left, they need to speed things up.
He needs to speed things up substantially, my guy, because with the time and the HP, this is not gonna happen whatsoever. Opening up the Logi hatch, but the mute can simply deny it with through the wall. But as of now, they're just throwing in bodies as it seems. Secret diving in within logistics. The smokes will be there to cover up the angle. Sleeper will be able to find something, but now they need to find at least a couple of frags. But looks like it's gonna be a difficult one.
So
Then
dead.
this is the last one surviving. 3v1, and the plan
The diffuser
is going to be successful.
Diffuser's going down.
Plan's going down. And I think they will find just
Diffuser's
enough
going
success
down.
as well. The band is gonna be flashed up as well. Now she has to pray to the gods above to make sure she survives. But now, in a 1v3, very much doable because the Thermite is the main target here as the Yana and the what's it called?
Hold.
The floor is super low on HP. Both of them are extremely low. If they can find the 1v1, she doesn't
saw
see
him?
the No, she does!
1v1!
1v1! And Lucas is gonna be on extreme low HP. One shot and she is gonna be taken out completely. And now time is ticking, but
Watch
still
the door.
locations will give it away. She's faking it with the double taps, and now the Flores will not take the mage and the shots will connect. But now,
No way!
You do? No way! You going for that? You could have defused. Does he have time? Yes, she does. She does have enough time. Good God! Within 7 seconds left on the clock, she will be able to keep her team alive. What are you doing, Bandit? She's doing God's work to make it alive and keep herself on top of the world. 5-0 Wildcard Queens. Even the round they could have taken in their board will be taken away by StrikeX. What a play!
A 1 versus 3 with a completely unnecessary knife kill at the end, but manages
Still
to make it back and get defuse. What did we just witness? How are they still up 5-0? That should have been a round win for Wildcard Queens in every reality. But we found the one where Strike X continues their winning streak. It's 5-0. Wildcard Queens, you need one round, otherwise this becomes the most dangerous uphill battle you could possibly imagine. This is, this is nearly, I would argue this is completely disastrous for Wildcard Queens. This is your map pick. You need a round on the attack, and that should have been it. You have one more chance, and you're betting it all on this Maverick, on this Iana, once again, for Eris. But I need to see some motion. I need to see some motion from Wildcard Queens right here and right now.
You know,
Riv.
just
on
saying,
this
in
spawn
other...
peak. Oh no.
Is she gonna get it though?
Oh no. Surely
Oh
not.
no.
Oh
Okay,
my
she did.
goodness! Okay. Good opening pick from Impala there. Punishing the over-aggression from words to Riv by. It now becomes significantly more doable without the Aruni on the field. Obviously, those gates are still going to be a problem, but this is a much more winnable round now that you're up one gun. Maverick, just
You know,
gonna be
I have a
opening
very
these up,
nasty
getting rid
thing
of
to
these
say. I
bandits.
mean, it's not going to be something effective, which they could have done on the previous round. Flores could have used the boom drones, you know. But anyways, it's gone, so let's not beat around the bush anymore. But yeah, back to you. Good.
Bomb sites looking very solid here. It's a 1-for-1 trade right now. No bandit trick gonna come out, so that wall will be blown open. Thermite showing his use case right now. But there is still so much to worry about. Bloppy in particular is going to be such a major problem in this position. There's so many angles you need to be able to clear. Top garage is going to be the major problem, but I mean, Wildcard Queens, despite the fact that numbers are even, the health is not. Cass and Impala are both hurt and re-bad, and nobody on Strike X looking any worse for wear.
If they can take control of this construction side, they can definitely split up the objectives and force the defenders to take the fights, because they will have a lot less angles to go for. Considering the fact the main wall also has been opened up, this does put some pressure on the garage player so that he is either forced to play on the lines of sight or on the window to deny any forms of aggression. But for now, it's going to be Foe getting rid of Impala as well. So what is exactly happening on the attacking side, as they will not find any answers whatsoever? Both the players are isolated here again. The walk-in's going to be coming and Bully in the middle of nowhere, but still, Secret able to find
2v2.
something. The equalizations will be there. The plan's going to be going down, my guy, but now... what's going to be the game plan? Planting on top of the table. The plan will be successful. I'm not sure the defenders know about this, but if they can take the 1v1s, this is exactly where we have been previously. James coming in. Nice shot from the side of Bully. She knows exactly where the castle is. Castle. And first, the FBI operators needs to find and be the superior FBI SWAT operator here.
Foe versus Bully. You have to know that Bully is still on this
Why
bomb.
did you drop?
Play this so carefully. Bully with such a massive risky play, but it will end up paying off in Wildcard Queens. They do get their one attack round here on Clubhouse, avoiding complete and utter disaster, but this is still such a dire position to be in. They are going to need some legendary plays in order to bring this to map 3.
That they will, and I do appreciate the Thermite finally playing it smart, actually, because as she was on top of the table, that's not a common angle. So most of the players on professional play or even rank play at some given times, they will always aim on head level angle. So as the Thermite was elevated, there was a higher chance for the Thermite to survive, because she knows exactly where the castle's head's gonna be popping out, but the castle had no idea. But that's just me over explaining. But for now, on the roll swap, Striker on attack, not too out of the ordinary bans coming in from their side, except for the Maverick being taken out. It makes a lot more sense from my view, because now they are kind of forced to bring a Thatcher on the board. unless they want to bring in the pocket EMPs. So there will not be any wall softening attempts coming in from either of the sides. A basement defense is going to be taking place. Habana is also going to be called out from the side of Strike X. But I'd want to see if the curse of the defenders remain true till this moment. I do believe Strike X has all the momentum they can ask for. The previous round, yeah, they lost it, but still, it did go down to a one. It did go down to a 1v1, but I think some technical difficulties happened or something. Not quite sure, but hello again, Getster. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am very I'm a little shocked by what we're seeing so far. And looks like we're okay. I was a little scared for a moment, but we are okay. We are alive. We're still here. It's going down into the basement for Wildcard's first defense, and I think we're gonna be seeing some very I think if Strike X takes one round, Wildcard Queens just has to start super desperate siege. Like it becomes so difficult to do really anything if you're down 6-1. So this kind of is Wildcard's must win round. First and foremost.
That's how they open up the momentum, and that's how they make their way to an equalization and eventually walking down to the path of overtime. Not exactly overtime quite yet, because their opposition's still not sitting on match point, so that's kind of out of the equation, but at least that's a process. You make your way slowly and you take the fights one by one. Though we do see the Goyo swatted up as Hibana's being the bait here. If the Demos can catch him up off guard from jail side, that's going to be a huge one. But I think the Goyo realizes the threat as he will run away on the top side. I believe on the top of the objective, or sorry, should I say the top floor, as a senses bring some extremely high value with the heartbeat charges. Not sure if that did any damage from the IQ, but at least gadgets will be spotted out one by one if they want to take care of anything particular. But in my opinion, the tunnel has not been opened up yet. So if they could have opened that up, it would have cut off a lot more angles from the defensive side. The defenders would not be allowed to play aggressively on the second and third box. And I guess the Ram has been calling for that, but there is an imposter venting up, or should I say, climbing the ladder onto the garage side, looking for flanks. And if there's any attempts of an unaware attacker, it's going to be the stalker who gets rid of the players. As in, from any game actually. Stalks from behind, stabs you in the back, and zombifies you as well in the process. But actually not zombifying you, but taking you out of the book completely. The attackers, they better be ready for this. We do see an aggression from the attackers onto the tunnel side. There's a shotgun ready. I do want to see how this goes down. The prefires do come in. I think she saw the shotgun barrel.
No,
it's the Ram.
I think
They're gonna be there. No,
Cass,
that was
perfect.
kind of expected, my guy.
It was perfect patience from Cass.
Exactly. She probably could have put up a ram rune to muffle the footsteps and push in, but anywho, Impala finding her first break, finding the second as well, and now probably the IQ on the Hibana to make some values. We'll spot out the Mozzie in the process. Okay, downing him as well. Her as well. And now, 2v4. Not much time, 1 second. Looks like the defender's curse will remain very much true till this day, till this round actually. As the attackers, they are slowly but surely walking towards the objective, but how do they plant here? It does feel like they have an open third side, except for this corner. Never mind.
Ooh.
Yep, they're also gonna fall in the hands of Jaeger as well.
And that's step one, right? Of a very long multi-step process of getting yourself back into this game. Basement, obviously off the board now. I imagine we're probably going to be seeing a second floor. Yeah, gym bedroom. So, gym bedroom here makes a lot of sense. One thing you will notice about Wildcard Queens is that they love playing Frost on this site. They were doing it a lot in their previous matches. So I fully expect to see that rather than the Azami that we saw Bloopy using when they were defending on this site. Other than that, fairly standard stuff. We're still going to see the castle. We're still going to see the bandit. We're still probably going to see the Jaeger as well. So, a lot of fairly standard stuff here on Gym Bedroom. The Riv staying on the sledge that we see her hovering here as well, because this character is just so insanely good at busting down those castle barricades. At least that first level one that's on the outside of the room. Getting that second one is a little bit harder.
It certainly will be, undoubtedly, but I do want to see how the defenders fend off the attackers onto that particular CCTV set. If they go for the CCTV side, that is. There's something some players tend to ignore, or should I say, it's kind of overshadowed by any attacking team on Clubhouse on a bedroom defense, is the Logi hatch. They do open it. I'll give you that, but sometimes you don't need to drop it. Just play that, because most of the time, if you're not giving too much sound cues, any unaware defenders will try to rotate from that particular area, and you can pick off players, and that's exactly how you force the players to take construction. And if you have control of construction as an attacker, there's actually not much the defenders can do to rotate unless they're going for frag. I mean, there used to be a very crazy angle, I think you remember as well, Ged, from the garage wall, from a very far away distance onto the garage window, onto the construction window, which has been removed in Siege X. But when that was a thing, playing construction as a defender used to be a nightmare. But now, it's not necessarily a nightmare for the defenders at all so far into the entirety of the series, because they are finding their values and keeping themselves alive. I mean, so far, even wildcards are shining enough, but they need to do a little bit more to keep themselves alive. Valve will reach up onto the CC side to make sure the entries will be coming in. One more Silma remaining, which may or may not be used onto this particular wall. Yeah, now the moment I say it, it will be utilized to create lines of sight onto that cache door, cache AO. There is a rotation from the Frost, along with the shield. Good angles, I have to admit. No pixels on the shield though, but it's okay. She can definitely play aggressively on that particular area. And now, never mind. They do not have any Jaeger, so that can be a problem for the survival of that shield. And the moment I said it, the shield will be taken out by the Lion. The Frost needs to fall back. Ruby will be able to get rid of the... Yeah, go on.
They've opted for the Wamai instead of the Jaeger. So... there is still that level of ordnance denial, but it won't be the exact same. Obviously, Jaeger just destroying them with the ADS, whereas Wamai simply sucks them in, and they still take their effect. But anyway, you slice it right now, Wildcard Queens, they're struggling.
Good refrag
out of the bathroom, but it's not going to be enough. Strike X, they've gone to 6. One more round, and they will have defeated the Titans here on Clubhouse.
As Inter would say, it's match point and map point and championship point for Strike X. Wildcards, they're up against the wall here. This is where they'll have to bring every single thing to keep themselves alive, and maybe, just maybe, push it to overtime, and maybe, just maybe, push it to the third map. Because this is not going to be easy to take it home whatsoever. Wildcards, as you said, they might be the favorites here, but now maybe there is a disappointment waiting for the fans of WC, but we are still very much optimistic for the side of WC's performance. They are putting up the fight, and they are trying to keep themselves alive. Not much is changing except for the Frost being swapped out for a mute, I believe. Or never mind, the mute was still there. I think it was a dock. Yeah, exactly, my bad. So... I kind of understand why they're going for that. They want to keep themselves alive as long as they can. They want to keep the ACOG, which was also applicable from the Frost, but they need to make sure in case they come back from a gunfight, even if they're extremely low on HP, they will keep themselves alive. And not to mention, the dog players really shine quite a lot in the entirety of the game, especially... I'm looking at Rev here because we know how she played on this map, particularly on the previous as well, because she was flanking quite a lot on Consulate as well. But now, the action phase is going to be coming in as the prep phase is gone. This is where things can make it or break it.
I think this
will be there onto the dock.
This is a massive risk going back to Gym Bedroom, but Impala finding the first pick. This dock, so good at finding those opening picks and getting away scot-free, which is exactly what will happen. Lion no longer in the picture. Yuli goes down so early, and losing out on that operator is so rough because having that level of intel is just so strong. The scan no longer available to them,
Oh no.
but they're still playing this so aggressively. They know where at least one other player
Good
is,
shot.
but Riv loses out on that duel. Impala once again going absolutely nuts. The Doc plays have been so impactful throughout this entire affair. 3 versus 5 now. Strike X in a very rough scenario. Not one that'll be easy to come back from, but we've seen some crazy things from this team today alone, so I would not count them out.
We can't count them out either, actually. They're putting up the fight and keeping the souls alive, and now the attackers, they are really starting to scratch their heads here. Even though the Doc is low on it, I don't think she has any more stims left, so that's kind of sad, but then again, she has found her value. Even if she goes down, she will go down with a smile on her face. 3-5 situation. The attackers yet to find a proper footing to take proper control of the objectives, as most of them I see still very much outside of the building. As I said, they could have taken some control on the Logi hatch and probably could have find some frags, but now they're still paranoid about the presence of construction, paranoid about the presence of cache site as well, and this is burning them a lot of time. The more they kill, the more it's gonna hurt them, and the more the opposition's gonna be coming closer to an overtime. Mute will have enough information onto the Dokkaebi, and now Dokkaebi is expecting some backup, and yes, she's not wrong. Impala does go down, but still, she doesn't have to worry about it because, as I said, she has done his job. Secret will find a refrag onto Blue Pin, follow-up thrust already coming in onto Foe, and now it's him. It's all up to the Doki versus the world, but it's gonna be Wildcards keeping themselves alive.
And the
now,
gamble pays off. I mean, going back to Gym Bedroom for a second round in a row was definitely a risky play, but it ends up working out in favor of Wildcard Queens. It now becomes a matter of these next two bands. And I don't even know who we're going to see. I don't know.
Let me guess. It's gonna be maybe Hibana and something else. I don't know. Hibana maybe. Well, at least I got one of them right.
At least I got one of them. You got one of them.
Yeah. I think the mute is also understandable because they are both the teams know this is going to be a basement defense, so they do not want any form of hatch denial, or should I say they want those hatches to last a little bit longer, even though there can be heartbeat charges and a lot more utilities from the ace or the thermite as well if they want to be daring, but they want them to survive for a bit longer, so that's why that's not surprising. But I believe the mute taken out plays a much more bigger role because, of course, the drones are being jammed, but the main problem is mute is holding onto that tunnel by herself. And we remember last time it was the Ram who didn't even have a chance to fight against the mute whatsoever. I mean, understandable. It is a shotgun. What do you do on a close proximity against a shotgun? Unless you have some from utilities, maybe some flashbangs or something to drive the mute away and force her to take a longer range of gunfight. It was not the case at all, but anywho, 6-3, very much match point and map point for the side of Strike X. Wildcard Queens, they're still up against the wall, but still they're trying to open things up as they are putting up the pressure on the opposition. Drones will be in the vicinity, will finally be taken out. So not the best of drone economies out there from the side of the defenders, but from the attackers. But I low-key want to see how this particular tunnel side will be held onto, because now we do not quite see any shotgun players or any players, as a matter of fact, playing that AO. I do not expect the Aruni to play that because, come on, why would you play a close angle with a DMR? Not that you can, but it's extremely risky against the automatics brought out by the attackers. We also see a Ying on the board get. So
interesting.
Chances of aggressive
Floppy
plays does remain true. Yeah.
Impala is going to be able to find the first pick of this one. No more striker for the side of Strike X while we're playing Siege X. Whole lot of very confusing words right next to each other, but gonna be a very interesting approach here. Yuli drops the ADS at just the wrong time. Impala with another pick here in this round, finding so much value so quickly. And now it's just a matter of Can Strike X come back from a two-person deficit? It's going to be a very, very difficult affair for them for sure. But if anybody can do it, it can be spearheaded by the efforts of Riv. 13 kills so far in this match over the last 9 rounds. Looking to add on a couple more here in number 10. Not going to be easy though. And it won't end up happening. Impala finding a triple on the round, potentially looking for another here. This Mozzie on the roam has just been immensely valuable. It does look like another engagement happens here.
Oh god.
Shut down. Foe, excuse me. And now just the Grim of Shift A with a minute left against 5. I mean, there's just no chance.
Well, she's just chilling. Well, she's just chilling actually on the roof with the diffuser, and I would technically say this is a discount timeout for the side of the attackers, in my opinion, because
Yeah.
yeah, you do not have any chance, but at least on the 40 seconds remaining on the clock, you can just, have some talks, grab some water, and say, okay, what is exactly happening here? We know the entirety of the game was not the best of us for when we were on the attacking side. So I kind of feel like that we should do something different. Maybe we can do something they're not expecting. I mean, on the map of Clubhouse, you can't quite do something extraordinary because, as I said, it's a very bread and butter of the game, and now Impala knows that she's chilling on the roof, and now probably there will be some chats coming in, and now we have an instruct animation as well from Shift A. Wish it was a glacier, but damn, it does look good actually on the inspect animation. I always thought that if we will ever have an inspect animation on Siege X or Rainbow Six Siege in general, but we always, I mean, in my head, I always felt like that there was one character who always inspected his something. Yeah, it is a male character in the game. Can you make a guess, by the way, who it is?
I am not entirely sure.
Okay.
Would it be like?
Okay, it's Smoke
is it a
actually.
newer
It's
or an
Smoke
older
actually.
op?
Oh,
It's
Smoke.
Smoke.
It's Smoke. If you hold his canister for long enough, he used to inspect it actually.
Interesting.
So
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's a very OG thing. A lot of people didn't notice, but yeah, it's just something he used to do. I mean, I'm damn sure you're gonna check it after the stream. You're gonna get into the game and just hold your middle button and just see if he inspects it automatically. So, I mean, he
Well,
did
now I
that.
have to know.
He did it before it was cool. Exactly. You'll see. You'll see.
CCTV Cash will be the next option for Wildcard Queens, doing everything they can to avoid the first floor bomb site in the lobby. One of the hardest to hold in the entire game. Not surprising that we are not going there, but we are seeing a new player pick up the Doc mantle. It will be Bully this time around, so... And once again, we are seeing the Azami still not having been banned, putting up these Kiba barriers in the top balcony on Garage. Not a surprising position at all for them, so expect to see at least one player consistently holding that, potentially Cass on this Jaeger, so whole lot riding on this round. Strike X, they're opting for something completely different now. Words to Riv by the legend herself on this Deimos, looking to be able to lock down at least one of these roamers, or maybe tell where this dock is at the top of Garage. It's going to be a difficult setup to break, but right now your only option to scan is that Jaeger, and you will go ahead and do that. Cassiopeia now revealed to the entirety of Strike X.
I think it's only revealed to the Deimos himself, from what I know. And on the top of that,
No, I
think not
believe
all.
I believe it's OP.
No. It's actually for Deimos only because apparently, according to the lore as well, Deimos is a very self-centered person. So.
Oh
And-
my goodness!
Did she not see the nade coming in? But anyways,
That's
not complaining.
a very unfortunate grenade death, and that could start spelling the end. The dominoes might be falling. Eris is gone.
Barrier active.
Now things become a lot more
Unfortunate.
difficult. More trades though. Impala falls at the same time as Riv. And Bully, despite taking a whole lot of damage, is playing this character who is capable of just bringing themselves back up to full. So, health still not a huge concern for the side of Wildcard. But more players fall. Cass is gone. It's all going wrong. Strike X.
Oh no.
They could be about to do it.
A shot.
Yuli will fall, so Bully will not go down without a fight. Just playing here in Garage. Few more bullets.
Oh no 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 no! Bad time to reload! He still connects the shot. What the hell?
The lack of an ADS still gets the kill. Doc is here, trying to finish this.
Whenever
off.
my
Oh my God! Bully! There's no way! The 1 versus 2! At the last possible second! It's 6-5! That should have been the round! That should have been everything for Strike X! But Bully steps up in the most clutch way possible, in the last second possible, and manages to take it all the way! I can't believe this!
Number 1, the Azami connecting the shot while she was on last bullet. As I said, bad time to reload. She had 1 bullet. 1 bullet in her chamber. Or should I say in the gun. Yeah, it is a chamber actually. She shot it and it was a headshot. She was able to take 1 player with her to grave, and then the dog just flanked like it was a regular day at the office. I don't get it. The last player was supposed to cover him, but the cover didn't quite go down. That is heartbreaking to say the very least. The ace kind of expected herself to be saved, but I think either she left the... I don't think she left the diffuser. She was injured instead. And that's how we are staring down on the barrels of a round. Okay, that was not supposed to happen. Okay, or maybe it was, in case someone wants to bandage it. But anyways, so... Yeah, I think I don't know actually. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if they want to bandage quick, then they can destroy the utility, or they can just use it later if they had a mirror. Which, speaking of which, they don't have one, because it's banned. But
This
man, the miscommunication kind of.
This is a gym bedroom without castle though. Like you don't bring
I
the
just
operator
realized.
that allows you to trick that hallway consistently, and as a result, it just becomes a whole lot harder. You have to put your batteries elsewhere. Like, for example, this particular wall in CCTV cache, but I don't think it's gonna be able to. I don't think this wall's gonna end up being that much of a factor. Wildcard. I am very interested to see how you're playing this without one of the most pivotal characters for this site, just in general. But, I mean, any way you slice it, this is dire straits for both teams. They need this round. Strike X does not want to let this go to overtime, and Wildcard Queens does not want to let their undefeated streak on this map end. All comes down to the next 5 frags.
It's gonna be fractured. It's just gonna be a post-plan situation. If it goes to that, that is now. Good positioning coming in from the side of the bandit. From the Fenrir to a long line of sight onto that balcony. A very common thing, but often overseen. And now the attackers.
My God.
Attackers is falling apart, my guy. This is not looking good whatsoever. Now they're left with the heartbeats, which is still a very okay position to deal with, but now they need to find frags to at least equalize the odds. Impala, extremely low on HP, but I know for a fact that she's simply gonna keep herself alive as long as she can. And now the attack defenders, they're just trying to burn time. They do not want to get anything else done for the time being as the primary target, as they are slowly but surely destroying all the utilities available in the vicinity, walking to the distance, and maybe, just maybe, take control of the objective as well. 50 seconds left on the clock. We might as well be looking down into overtime, ladies and gentlemen. These ladies do not know how to give up after all.
This is
now
insane.
The time. Well, gotta love the insanity actually, because at least it looks very competitive. They are here to win, and now they are putting up the fight we expected in a grand final. One by one. We'll have to take proper control. The smoke's very much available onto that Logi side. Frost is gonna go down, but as I said, she doesn't need to worry about it. She was already low on HP. Secret will find one ontowards, and now nice shot from Ares. I think it was a one shot as well. I kinda wanna see that. Was it? Oh, he wasn't. Never mind.
I can't believe it. It's 6-6. This was a 5-1 game. And now we're looking at a 6-6 overtime. What is going on? And do you want to know why we're here? Do you want to know why we're here? It's because of the one attacking round Wildcard Queens managed to scrape together at the very end of the first half. If that had not happened, Strike X would have won that round here on this half, their attack, and we'd be done. It would be over. But Wildcard Queens do not give up in any circumstances. We are at 6 apiece. Overtime, round 1. Unbelievable.
This doesn't look like a fairy tale, but it does look like a very odd reality. These players, or these queens from both sides, even the wild card players are queens according to their names, but these players seriously doesn't know when to give up whatsoever. And now with a Monty being brought on the board, I want to see exactly how this goes off, because I haven't seen any form of... I mean, we did see Shields actually, we did see Blitz and Blackbeard, but Monty... Now I want to see how this Monty will be utilized, especially by Riv, as she is the ace of the card of Strike X. I'm not worried about the fragging capabilities. I want to see exactly how she disturbs the players on the opposition side and how much time she can buy. Again, the attacker's curse is certainly a reality, because it was a 5-1 on the other side and now 5-1 again to make it a 6-6. And I hate to break it down, but if everything goes like this, Wildcards should be able to take this round as well, because yoo-hoo, they're on defense. But Strike X, you were so far, but so close now. Do you really want to risk it? Do you really want to go to the third map of Chalet? Regardless of how strong you are, you want to take that. Jaeger taking the bait, pushing onto the Monty, expecting somebody behind, I think, but now she might be punished for that, pushing the Monty. Yes, she is, but she's still very much alive on one slither of an HP. One shot and she's gonna be gone. No nades in the vicinity, but now the Twitch zone's gonna be a nightmare for her, because one Twitch zone is gonna be a problem.
They have a Brava and a Twitch. So much ordnance can now get into that spot. Bully is so low. There's like no way for her to escape. She has to leave, but it won't be possible.
Yep.
She'll be gunned down by the Monty. Strike X with this shield op. Starting to look really solid, but Impala gonna be able to clap back. A pick onto Shift A is absolutely massive. No more knock to speak of. But now...
Oh no, the Mozzie. Stuck in the corner! Oh, never mind, she's... What?
She's gone? Now,
Okay.
2 versus 4. This looked so good for Strike X just a few moments ago, but now 2 versus 4. 80 seconds remaining in the round of Brava and the Twitch. I don't even know if either of their drones are still available at this point. It might just come down to the guns. Just the weapons in hand. And one's gonna peek! Eris nearly takes the head off of the Twitch, but not quite going to happen yet. FAMAS in hand. Foe and Yuli. So much rides on this round. And with Cass going down. What happened? Both players fall. Wildcard back to match point. For the first time since... Consulate. Unbelievable.
This
Unreal.
These defenders. I'm damn sure whoever goes to Chalet and gets defense first probably is gonna take it. And I mean, whoever gets Defense on overtime is probably gonna take it. At this point, I'm not even gonna be surprised if that is the tradition of the entirety of the game. But I do want to know, why did the Twitch walk into a church? She could have probably planted on Arsenal's side because the Brava was in the vicinity. Even though she went down, she could have extended the round and maybe, just maybe, could have taken the gunfights to their oppositions. But it's okay. It's very much okay. 7-8. But now the curse needs to be broken, at least with the side of wildcards, because now they're sitting very comfortably and they know for a fact they can have it on the second round, on the upcoming round as well. But StrikeX, they're on defense, but how confident do you feel here? It is a bit gym bedroom defense, as we have seen several times, and looks like the players do feel confident going for that, and understandable with the castle mute setup as well, as they were able to burn a lot of time. And as I said, the main problem of both the teams over here is time management. They take too long to go for any form of commitment that they don't have to commit the objective. They are a lot more focused on the roamers. And to be honest, if that's the case, even if the roamers are going down, the roamers have done their job because they were burning time. They were distracting the attackers from focusing on what they were supposed to. I mean, I'm not going to talk about the clutches because they were spectacular in their own regards, but that's exactly where the attackers are falling the hardest. I'm not going to say attacking is difficult. I mean, yeah, some of the map, or should I say clubhouse, it does feel a lot defensive sided. But even after that, there are teams who turns the table around and they just know how to take advantage of a particular situation. They can understand that, okay, there's a player who's on the roam and we can't quite hunt him down because the time is not of the essence here. So what they do instead is just hold flanks and forces the attacker, forces the roamer to stay outside of the objective and takes a 4v5 inside the objective. Because still, that is a winnable situation for them because there's still going to be a chance of refrag, but that's not the case here. And I hope that doesn't need to be the case here for the time being, because they do seem confident for the time being. 2 minutes left on the clock. They are starting to open the position onto CC side, but never mind. Eris will be the first line of casualty from the side of the attackers.
Oh, wildcard queens. I like the fact that they bring the sledge. The sledge does not care about a mute jammer. The hammer does not care at all. It can't be blocked or anything like that. So it's just a matter of hitting the shots, and that's the kind of shot you need to be hitting. Riv is down, completely out of the picture. But there are still ADSs from this Jaeger to be worrying about. So walls go up from Cass on the Sens. And just like that, it becomes a matter of getting in on this site, which is very possible, especially with more players falling. One by one. Yuli and Foe are the last two to do it. The plant is going down. It's just Foe in a 1 versus 4. This map looks so good for StrikeX for so long, but it does not matter. Wildcard Queens will end up taking their map pick of Clubhouse in an insane 5-1 comeback, winning it 8-6. There's nothing to say.
You okay there, buddy?
Nothing to say. I'm great. I'm doing amazing right now. I'm just in shock that any of that just happened. It all comes down to that one round that Wildcard manages to take on their offense in the first half of the game. If that had not happened, this would be gone. This whole tournament would be over with. StrikeX would be walking away and we would not even be thinking about Chalet. But now we have to. We are going all the way to map number 3. We're going to need a quick break just to process what we've seen. And when we come back,
well, we definitely
finale
need that
of Project Luna.
Well, we do need that, and I guess we will be taking that shortly. But at the same time, I have to appreciate the side of Wildcard quite a lot because they showed what their capabilities are, and they are not shy from taking what is rightfully theirs. Or should I say, they would definitely fight for it. And now, I have to admit, on the other side of the spectrum as well, StrikeX were able to put up a great fight. They were able to give the opposition a run for their money. But now it's not about the run for the money anymore, because when you think about it, both the teams are on equal grounds, because 7-8, and I think the previous one was 8-6 because the last round didn't quite happen. It ended on the 14th round. But even after that, that was a heck of a game when you think about it. And I do expect the players to be a bit more, revengeful perhaps, because now they have successfully taken each other, from what I know at least, each other's maps. So if that's the case, who's it gonna be in the map of Chalet? In the end, we do not have any more maps on the board. It is a do or die for them. And I really, really hope the curse of the defenders comes to an end. We will be back, ladies and gentlemen, after a short break, as the players will also take some time to prepare themselves as we do the same to prepare ourselves from the shell shock, which will be coming on the map of Chalet. Stay tuned.
Wonderful viewers at home, I still cannot believe we are here, but we are going all the way. It's chalet time. One apiece here in the grand finals of Project Luna Season 1. I am Gedster, joining me is Cresto. And have you recovered mentally from that last map yet?
I think I have, but I'm ready for a lot more traumas if you ask me actually, because not necessarily traumas, but it does feel like a lot more actions coming in because truth be told was just not what the last game, even the previous one went to maximum overtime. So I wanna see how WC or StrikeX puts up a fight on the map of Chalet because again it is Siege X as the map has been reworked, but seriously man, please, I don't wanna see any more defenders curse.
Dude, the defenses have been ironclad today. There has been so few attacking round wins, and when they have shown up, they've been immensely impactful. The few attacking round wins we saw on Clubhouse were the reasons, most of them, I think 2 of the 3 we saw were the reasons that Wildcard ends up winning that map. So at this point, it just becomes a matter of, can Wildcard end up winning the map that StrikeX won yesterday against a team so unbelievably good at it? This is a map where StrikeX are very clearly comfortable, even if it was a 15-round game yesterday. But man, this is for everything.
Might as well be actually at this point, but I do want to know which team is going to be defending on the overtime side. Even though overtime is a very distant thing, these teams are so well matched. And truth be told, they're actually not overshadowing. They do not overshadow each other by any means. Even though there might have been, dominant halves from both of the sides, but they just know how to make it to overtime. Whether it be 4-2, whether it be 5-1, they just know. And truth be told, I'm not gonna be surprised if the exact same thing happens on the map of Chalet again. I just hope that they at least bring some form of values on the attacking side. I mean, it's not something on Chalet that you are going to have the best advantage as an attacker nor a defender, because in my opinion, it is a very well balanced map, even though, of course, with the fact that the attackers, the defenders, can burn the clock down to its knees, they will be probably able to run away with it. But I think both the teams realize that the only thing they struggle on is the timing. And now the ban phases do come in Ace Ban, no surprises, so it applies to Azami as well, because you do not want any extensions towards the mezzanine side or sometimes even towards the garage side if they are going for a garage defense, because they can really be annoying to get rid of. Blackbeard and Mira also kind of make sense because they do not want to have those one-way angles from either of these operators. And now StrikeX, they are on defense, so I do not want to sound like a broken record here, but I do want to see how Wildcard brings brings up to this challenge over here. So far, classic setup coming from their side. Hibana being brought up because Ace is banned. So if it is a top floor, never mind, it is a basement defense. I kind of believe it is going to be a back garage push, even though I kind of expected a thermite to be brought on, because that probably would have allowed them to open up the snowmobile garage wall as well, to put the defenders into a bay onto the blue side or to the wine killer side. But it all comes down to the fact that if they're willing to change that. Other than that, for the defensive side, I kind of understand why they're playing Maestro as well here, Ged, because as I said, both the teams struggle with the time, and if the Maestro by any given means survives and has good Maestro positions on the default positions, yeah, planting's gonna be a nightmare and a half.
Yeah, it won't be easy with the Maestro in play. These cameras are going to be very difficult to get around and circumvent, but that's kind of why I think we see a swap for Impala over to the Brava, just to kind of take back control of that area, taking over the Evil Eyes and just denying StrikeX the ability to use them against Wildcard. So, gonna be an interesting round for sure. And you were talking about the Thermite not being brought. Eventually, the swap does come in, and Thermite will be the option for Cassiopeia. So there's going to be a fair amount of utility on this team that'll be very interesting. We are also seeing the Osa come out from Eris, not an operator we've seen typically that
Oh
much,
no.
but oh my goodness, that's really unfortunate, losing out on the Maverick. Secret takes it in stride, just a quick little laugh, but I mean, that's still really bad, the fact that you're losing out on an operator that important that quickly.
Still can probably capitalize on the situation they have. Oh no, never mind. They can't anymore because no more breaches are available to them. As Blue Pete, nice shot onto the trend side. And now the attackers, they're kind of forced to take control of the stairways on the main stairs and the blue stairs. But then again, the diffuser in the middle of nowhere, they'll probably have to recover that first. That's still a very tall task with 1 minute and a half. A minute and a half left on the clock. As the Legion, oh sorry, it's not the Legion, it's actually the Bravo. I actually got confused because of the super shorty in the hands. But I'm damn sure there was someone in the vicinity. Yes, it was none other than the Doc. The shotgun shells were really close, but it wasn't enough to get rid of the player. But never mind, it is available from the side of Words, as, sorry, or should I say Riv, as she will also be able to avenge her teammate, bring her back to life. Osa, no diffuser, has one more Talon shield, but so much she can do. At this point, everybody knows where he is.
Yep.
Yep.
Riv is back with a vengeance. I mean, that's just a beautiful round. It doesn't even look like they are thinking about Clubhouse right now. A flawless round to begin us here on Chalet. Riv on this dock that she is so absurdly good at, going to continue playing this operator. We're going up to the second floor this time around, but I mean, the quality of this defensive play is just going to continue going up and up.
I sadly have to agree with that, actually. Because the way the things are, they'll have to bring up some changes. I mean, it is stating the obvious, actually, and there's no denial of the truth whatsoever. So, as of now, I'll just let it be and just hope for the best from the attacking side. Or maybe they were kind of expecting a top floor take from the defensive side. They were actually bringing the exact same lineup now they have. Instead, they didn't bring up a change, but I guess it was a little longer for them to adapt. But now they are pretty much looking solid for the time being, and I hope they will remain true to this moment. And now, with this lineup, I hope they can take mezzanine control properly, even though there is still a clash available. And I kind of believe that the clash will hold onto this library side as long as she can. The Legion Mines will also make sure there is not much of an easy entry onto the side. And the docks aren't peeking yet. That's what I was expecting. Is there any heads which will be taken off? It will be the Deimos, but never mind! No. It will be the doctor who will die before the patient arrives.
I mean, you've just got to be expecting it at some point, right? Like the attackers of Wildcard Queens, they're doing so well at shutting down a couple of these spawn peaks. That's like the second time I can recall seeing a spawn peak just completely shut down. I think last time it was Impala playing an Aruni who just does not get anything, but this time around it goes the other way, and Riv will not be participating for the rest of round 2 here. Strike X down a player, and on this second floor hold, it can be a very, very difficult thing to come back from.
That it is. But they'll have to adapt, like they don't have much options. With the dock off the board, Impala taking a little bit of damage, but still very much functional and alive. Attackers. They know there is nobody to be seen on the mezzanine side, but then again, they'll have to make sure that they take their control properly. The biggest problem, never mind, there is a Frost in the vicinity. Who am I kidding? Frost is not taking the bite whatsoever. The pre-fires will be coming in through the glass panels, but still no casual. Oh, never mind. I think she did take some damage. If it did, it is actually a very good peak because most of the time defenders don't quite expect the peaks coming through the glass windows. And these are usually one-way angles as well because some of them, at least in the hallway, they're kind of dark and you can't quite see the shades of an attacker or defender, as a matter of fact, if they're holding that. Anywho, It is a 4v4 situation. So never mind, it's a 3v4 5 situation, but the attackers are pretty down low. So if the defenders can fend this off long enough, they should be just fine. Fortunately, the clash doesn't do damage to these players. Or should I say, electricity doesn't do damage to the players anymore. Otherwise, this would have been extremely fatal. Imagine if the clash just held on to that particular players, they would have both died. At least Yana and Redlock wouldn't have no chance surviving. And now 40 seconds left on the clock. They'll have to make it quick. There is a player on the window. I don't know if the woman knows about it.
I believe they are aware.
It.
30 seconds now left in the round, and finally a pick comes through for the side of StrikeX. This defense won't go down that easily. The Deimos now out of the picture, looking for any angle they can find under this clash, but they're not going to find it, at least not immediately. Plant goes down. This Hibana trying to get it down and will be successful. 44 seconds left. A 1v4 for the Wamai. Shift is a great player, but she has to go nuclear here. 1 down, 3 to go. But they are not going to provide her any opportunity here. 2 players are very low, so there is technically a chance. It's just, it gets so much less likely by the second.
Long hand, that's
now,
a good call.
But long hands, but has to jump off of it. And eventually the pick will come through. Eris will clean it up. And Wildcard Queens take an attack half round already. That is a significantly better momentum starter than going down 0-5. They're already in a better spot.
They certainly are. Now, Wildcard is. I kinda hope they are able to crack the curse of the attackers. They are able to find some good values, and now they're looking really damn confident. And now they will bring the exact same lineup, except for the Hibana. Oh, never mind. They will bring it the moment I say of it. The Blitz is not going to be in the equation. But the Maestro, however, is going to be brought back again, because now they know that in case the attackers overrun the objective, they can still hold on and use those Evil Eyes to deny the plan. But then again, I do wonder if this is gonna force the attackers' hands now to shift to a Brava. Unless the Maestro can keep safe, or maybe not get spotted. Not gonna be the best of it. In that case, Maestros are gonna be extremely and much more valuable. No changes so far, so I do not know if the Maestro has been spotted out yet or not, but regardless, Wildcards might as well be very much confident with the current lineup, if they have spotted out the Maestro, that is. But there's no shame in playing your comfort pick as long as it works, because it did work previously, so that's not a bad position to work in. Nor is an oddball when you think about it. And I do believe at least 2 more Maestros are remaining in his pockets, so maybe he was hiding after all to deny a Brava bomb from being picked. Because a lot of times you'll see players like Capcan, Maestro, even Echo at given times just hides, so that the opposition doesn't switch to a Brava to give the opposition a taste of their own medicine. And now, exact same take from the attacking side, and now Dokkaebi is gonna go down by a handgun. Okay. Interesting.
Okay. I mean, yeah, fair play. One down, 4 to go. Wild card already. Losing out on a very valuable operator. That logic bomb, obviously one of those pieces of utility that makes it very easy to tell where everybody is, but losing out on the X-Kairos as well means that you don't have any hard breach unless you have any can openers on this team. I don't remember if any of these operators can even carry them, though. No, they don't. So,
no
hard breach available. And now, words to Riv by on 5 kills. This Valkyrie with so much value here. It's going to be damn near impossible for Wildcard Queens to take this round. It's just Eris and Bully. Bully does find 1, so a decent start to a potential comeback.
It's not very much of a far cry for a comeback, because they are able to pick up frags, but they're also burning a lot of time. Okay, 1 more kill, as you just referred, but it's gonna be oh, never mind. It's going to be refrag after all by the side of Shifte. Now it's all up to Thatcher. I was almost about to say the oldest operator in the game, but then I realized Zero exists, so does Kate, so can't quite say that. 1 minute left on the clock.
He used to be.
And the Maestro's very much who?
He's just saying he used to
Never
be.
mind. Yeah, exactly. I mean, before Zero, before Kate as well. I mean, there used to be a phrase for Thatcher that old as time, but anyways, he does have the experience from SAS, so can't quite count that out. He was in the Operation Nimrod, so he should be able to find it. 30 seconds from the clock. Needs to isolate these 1v1s, but the biggest problem is definitely going to be the Maestro, as now it is definitely going to be what we expected it to be. The first one goes down, but there's two more to worry about. The pre-fires just come in. She's kind of paranoid at this point, but it's going to be the Alda, which will take her out of her misery. Man, yeah, this is my first time casting on a female tournament, so that's why I'm keep thinking the players are male. But anyways, you won.
Hey, that's okay.
Hey, it
that's
is my
okay.
first
I did
time.
the same thing in my first week here. Don't even worry about it. It is a little unfortunate, but your heart's in the right place. We get you. Either way, ban phase
Thank you.
number 2 in this final map. It is going to be Hibana and Valkyrie out of the picture. These bans make a lot of sense. Both just very safe bans that we see throughout Siege's history. Hibana, obviously very good at hard breaching from literally anywhere on the map, and Valkyrie, just one of those operators that gives so much intel at literally all times. It just makes perfect sense. So I don't think there's a whole lot to talk about there. I think the only real player directly affected by this is Words to Riv who's been playing a decent amount of Valkyrie. So no longer an option for Riv, but still has that dock available to them.
Well, so far the strategy has been to keep the players alive on the defensive side as long as they can, and not to mention the MP5 has certainly been a menace to society so far from both of the teams, truth be told. Whether it be in the hands of Melusi, Doc, or even the shortened versions, for example, the MP5K from the side of Omai, or I don't know if I've seen any echoes using the MP5. I think there was a shotgun instead, but at least they are able to find the values with the ACOGs as well, so I don't see why not. Now going for a wait a second. Is it a basement defense? I think yeah, it is a basement defense.
Is,
for a
yes.
second, I thought it is going to be. Yeah, for a second, I thought it's going to be a gym bedroom. Sorry, not gym. Sorry, this. I'm still in Clubhouse. My bad. No. What's it called? The game room. The game room and bar defense. My bad. So yeah, as I said,
Not going there
I still
yet,
haven't
but...
recovered from. Exactly. I didn't quite recover from Clubhouse, as I said on the very beginning of the game, as you asked.
Listen, I can't blame you. I don't think anybody can blame you after what we witnessed, but not a whole lot of wall denial here. There's a Tubrao to stall out this usage of the...
Nothing.
It won't work. It won't work. Wall's been blown open regardless, so...
Are they gonna plant?
This is a very fast plant. Yeah, they can get away
Are
with
they
this.
planting?
They've got the glass. They've got the glass to watch. Diffuser's down. There's nothing they can do about it. Glass has every angle imaginable. Absolutely domes Yuli just then. So, is there really anything that can be done about this one? I mean, Strike X, they have to pull off a perfect retake right now, but they don't have line of sight onto anybody. Booley is cutting off everything right now. And just like that, that is a swift round win for Wildcard Queens. All you need is one hole, a Monty, and a sniper rifle. Apparently, that'll do it for you.
That's
2
almost
apiece.
goal, of course.
Of course.
I kind of love how the attackers are also running iron sights most prominently. I mean, it does give you the chance to ADS quickly as well. And I kind of believe, and I used to be a cult figure follower of this, that I used to believe that pretty much all the iron sights in the game are good enough. I mean, some of them are definitely exceptions. For example, I forgot which iron sight it was. If there was an iron sight which literally blocks off everything. Never mind. Not even gonna be able to try to remember that because I really can't. But But at least they are farming the style points. And at the same time with the glass, my friend Mert is also gonna be very happy because he is a glass main. So yeah,
Big news.
it's going to be yeah, I mean, he's also going to be playing glass a lot more because of the fact that there are like fire extinguishers, which does give you the cover and you can see through them, I believe. So
I
not gonna
think so, yes.
be yeah. So with that, we are heading into a game room defense finally. I didn't say gym bedroom anymore because I kinda am used to saying that. I guess everybody is. Whenever you say gym, you say bedroom. That's how Siege language works. But now
That's
we
true.
have a blitz on the equation. Exactly, man. I mean, for example, if I ever tell you armory, what do you think?
I struggle to remember
Archives,
which map that
probably?
is because I'm still, yeah, probably
Border.
archives, but border. That's it. Yes, yes, yes. I'm still relatively new, so forgive
Okay.
my lack of knowledge.
It's fine, it's fine. Welcome to the game, as long as you are.
Mm.
So that's the
This is my
Siege
fourth
language in
time
general,
casting
but...
Siege.
Sheesh! Wait, now I want to see what is being cooked by the players of Wildcard Queens. I see they're preparing to go for an FBI open up and they are going in after all.
Oh,
FBI open up and they are going for another plan. What the hell,
this
ladies
is
and gentlemen?
fast.
They are not
This
taking
is
plan. They just
fast.
went in and going for a plan. No, Frost is
What?
in a knifing range and she will be left off as well. And now within 30 seconds of the round,
Oh
they will
no.
fall like flies. Wildcard.
More
They
players to
are
be
just
taken
playing
care
with
of
their
here.
food.
Riv falls. It's just shift day. And this retake's not going to be easy. Does take down the
Only
Ash.
one
It's
though.
just the Blitz. All you got to do is get through this shield.
What?
And you will! Shifty! Winning the crucial 1v2 to keep that lead intact. Wildcard does not take the lead here on Chalet. I mean, that was insane. That was absurd. I love the aggressive play with the blitz to go run straight into the site and plant the diffuser quickly as possible. But it all falls apart because of that lurk coming from up above. Just beautiful play from Shifte. There's some
This
yapping
might as
happening in
well
the
be one
match
of the
chat right
shortest
now.
rounds. My
Dude, we've had
God.
2 extremely short rounds today.
I mean, the previous one, at least I can, give them a benefit of doubt. Because, okay, they planted and they went back and then they held post plant. I love how the defenders just retook the side as if there was a storm in the objective and another storm just literally equalized or neglected the storm and they said, I'm a bigger storm, what can I do?
Yeah.
This, I mean, I did expect the attackers to take aggressive control of the objective the moment I saw the Blitz waiting on the door along with the Ash. As I said, FBI open up moment coming in. But who knew that FBI will be sent back home so quickly? It reminds me of some GTA 5 moments where IAA and FIB just fights against each other. It's a moment of agencies. Strike X.
Was not expecting a GTA 5 reference, but I'm with it.
I mean, nor was I. I just had to put it up because, think about it. The retake
Same thing.
happened in a fashion as if they were ready for it. They knew what's coming to them.
So this is the exact same retake we saw last time around, and Riv is already gone, so no more Jaeger to speak of. There's going to be a fair amount of delay on this wall breach because of the Tubarao and on the Kaid, but I mean, this is the exact same composition we saw last time outside of there's no glass. There's going to be an Ash instead, so I imagine the plan has to be very similar other than a couple players sneaking in through the other side of the basement. You do see the Monty and the Ash here,
It's gonna be so
while
detrimental.
pressure is being put on Garage Door as well.
Do they not know there's a mute above? If they don't, this is not gonna work whatsoever because there is a player holding the hatch. I want to
Oh
believe.
boy. Oh boy. All right, walls opened up. The mute above is going to be a pivotal player in this
Why
round.
did he peek?
Yuli goes down. It's a 3 versus 5. Even with the mute above, it may not be enough. But eventually, Floppy does find an opening pick for them and equalizes based off of a double. Shift A will be the next to fall. It's just a couple players each on both sides right now. But Bloppy
Is it a
the
W
next
gaming moment
victim.
we're having here?
This might be a W gaming moment. The strategy works
Everybody's
across multiple
running.
games sometimes. It's just down to foe. 1 versus 2, and one of your opponents is a Montaigne, and you hate to see it. Montaigne, one of the most annoying characters in the entire game to have to 1v1. But now that they know exactly where you are, this Nomad should be here at any moment to finish the job. Or
The monster's
just
playing with
play
fire.
safe. 19 seconds remaining. It is, this one's not happening. The air jab connects. Wait a minute! I mean, surely
No
Impala's
time.
there for the kill. Yep. Impala's gonna get that one. It's 3 apiece. A perfectly even first half of this game. And now, Wildcard is looking for their defense half. This is about to be a brutal half for both of these teams.
At least it's equalized from both of the sides, but I gotta love the last round. The moment the Thermite started running within the fire, everybody started to become Usain Bolt. And just started running every single where as if there's nowhere to run. The end of the world is coming in. And in the end, it's always going to be the Monty walking into the jab and baiting his opposition as well. And now we had a very awkward moment where both of them were on the ground. They were like, oh shit, we just dropped our gun. We gotta take it back. And then the kite was able to recover. But then again, the Nomad playing is so safe. I have to appreciate that. Oh, good God. And now, 3 to 3. Again, normal bans, nothing too out of the ordinary. Not a ban. I mean, Bandit never gets banned anyways. Cade was opened previously, so this time they will have an easier chance of going for bandit tricks, or should I say denial of the particular gadgets. But now, at least from the side of Wildcard Queens, they have shown that they can deny the curse of the attackers. And now it all comes down to the fact that if Strike X can do the same thing. You did say that Strike is exceptionally good on Chalet. They were perfectly fine on defense, but so was applicable for the side of Wildcard Queens on their attack. So if they want to be perfectly fine, it's okay, but that's not gonna take them to extreme distances. We might be looking down to another overtime. The only thing which will take or should crown any of these teams to be the champions is to be extraordinary, not perfectly fine anymore. We don't want to have any more maps on the board, ladies and gentlemen, so that does put up a lot of pressure on both these teams. But there's plenty of room to take some breath and go in for the upcoming rounds as the players prepare themselves for the storm which is about to come. But I really hope the first couple of rounds doesn't quite storm in and storm out, because we saw the rounds do the players know how to rush, but they also know how to retake.
Indeed they do. It's looking rather scary right now for the side of Strike X. Obviously, the defenses have been so good throughout the day, but Wildcard managing to take 3 rounds on the attack in that first half could end up being what turns the tide of this match. Wildcard on this defense, they're first opting for bar and gaming. Not the most popular site on this map. One of the better ones.
Sorry. My bad. I thought something else. My bad.
No, I get
thought
it.
was My bad.
I understand.
I zoned out for a second.
No, I get it.
Yeah, thank you.
The panic overcomes you in the moment sometimes. They have spotted out one of the defenders here. I believe that is the Frost. So it is the Frost. Runs decently far away at this point, but It's still a very, very difficult
Awkward
fight to be
feat.
taking if you're shift. Zofia goes down, but a very quick trade means that we're still in a 4v4. These Rauda panels falling very quickly, but Strike X not able to make great use out of them as two more players fall, including your Monty. And without that shield, attacking becomes so much more difficult. It's just the Striker and the Rauda left. And Foe, diffuser in hand, unable to consistently approach this site.
Time's ticking. And now they need to find at least something to go for a commitment. Or maybe some frags, but they will rendezvous back onto the window side. Probably planning for a plant as well. Are they inside the object? Never mind, they're not. They are showing up some presence onto the main stair window. But it's not the best of positions when you think about it, because on a 2v4, at least you can play together, at least allow one to go for a control of the objective perhaps, and then go for a plant perhaps, even though that's a far cry, even now. Jumping in is going to be detrimental for the recruit, or striker if I might. And as I said,
Striker down.
that's exactly what I was talking about, and now the Frost is going to be able to find the second kill as well. Not that much of an effort, because this was kind of expected, that the Frost was playing on this area, and so she will find proper values as well. And now this is kind of an indication that the players of Strike X, the moment they lose bodies, they start to get confused and they just don't find the answers they need to find. It's okay though, they were trying to take control of the piano side and then going for mezzanine. But sadly, those needed to be a bit more phenomenal, because the Wamai was not being pressured from the K9 window. Instead, she was only being pushed from the hallway. That's exactly where she had a much more of a harder time, because again, the easiest way to contest the player onto that mezzanine side is to go to the roof, lay down, and open the window right next to the what's it called? The blue hallway. Because it's not a usual angle, but it does give you a really long line of sight into mezzanine behind the pillar in particular, where usually players play on. If you hold that, either the player is forced to hug the wall on the library wall, or he is forced to fall back. But then again, it's okay. 3-4, there's a lot of room to recover whatever have been lost. Wildcards, they are so very much on this driver's seat, and probably undoubtedly they're gonna extend onto the top floor as well. But I want to know if the top on the attacking side, if they will have any answers for the top floor take. I do see a Brava being brought up, but if the Brava happens to end up in a mute jammer radius, that's going to be a challenge, considering the fact that mute jammer radiuses have been buffed real long ago, as they are spherical now. But anywho, main concerns are going to be how the Maverick finds value on this particular wall to allow the Habana to open it up, or maybe some shotgun operator, or maybe Ash as well, to open up the line of sight.
Yeah, there's a lot of options that Maverick provides you as an operator, and it's why he's so important when it comes to sites like this one, like CCTV on Clubhouse, for example. Just being able to open that up and get rid of bandit batteries if those are there, or find a way in and deny things like a Kaid Claw from getting value. Obviously, Kaid's banned out on this particular site, but right now the only form of wall denial they have is those mute jammers. So, I guess, and the bandit. I didn't spot the bandit, but again, really good at getting rid of those with the help of Maverick. So,
Capcan.
very possible.
Capcan.
Those don't get matter. Capcan.
I think Capcan knows.
Always
I
on
know
the
for a fact
Capcan.
she knows. Why did she walk in like that? Hello?
Why did she walk in like that? I mean, Secret just holding that spot, able to take the Ash completely out of the picture. And it will continue that way. Eris finding another pick on the Bloppy there. This team does not look like they've missed a step in the absence of one of their star players. Eris has been playing a very good game of Rainbow Six Siege, both here and on Clubhouse. It sucks to lose out on mine because of time constraints, but Eris has stepped up to the task big time. Currently sitting at 10 kills on the map. And looking very good to take this 5th round here on the defense.
Oh
Especially
boy.
with Shift A walking into a Capkin trap, unfortunately, from the grave. Impala going to find another pick. And just like
I
that,
love how Impala.
it's down to
I
Luna.
love how Impala, you know, just taunts her opposition. I mean, it's also a strategy to like demoralize their opposition to take the you know, advantage, the morale boost. But anywho, the gridlock is spotted out, and now pretty much everyone knows it's like, okay, nice shot, Yuli. Holy moly! Now Bully is gonna be taken out as oh, somehow that rhymes. Okay, and now it's gonna be the bandit going for the cleanup duty. But why did that rhyme? What the hell?
Dang. Okay, that's a very strong drop. Just manages to get that kill without needing to aim down sights, and just like that, we see a timeout from Strike X.
Too much information, people. Hello.
Goodness me. But either way, I was just saying it a moment ago, but Eris is doing very well in this map. Currently top fragging with 11 kills. 11! Going absolutely nuts in this map of Chalet. And that could be exactly what Wildcard needs to push them over the edge and take them all the way to the championship here in Project Luna Season 1. They're only a couple of rounds away. 2 more defense successes, and they've done it.
2 more rounds away from crowning themselves as the champions of this tournament. It also comes down to the fact that if they really, or should I say the defenders actually, if they're really gonna, what am I saying? The attackers are gonna allow them to do the exact same thing. Wildcard Queens. I think they have done their businesses as they have dropped on the chat. Not gonna talk too much about it, but now, back in the action phase. As we are going to a kitchen defense, no pun intended. As the players will probably extend the top side as well. As the rotations do pop in here and there. So, chances are... I kind of want to see if they're going to be holding on to blue though. Truth be told, because they do have, the opposition does have a Monty on the board, so I'm kind of expecting them to have a proper push from the side of what's it called, the library side.
Oh,
okay,
no.
maybe someone's game just crashed, so we might be looking down onto a rehost aggressive. Okay, never mind.
Wait,
Everybody
never
drop.
mind?
Never mind. Everybody
Dropping a
drop in
Nevermind at once. Oh no.
Exactly.
That was scary, but we're good.
I mean, I can see
We
my
are
guy
okay.
aggressive actually, like having a panic attack, because I'm damn sure if our rehost comes in, he's gonna say, "Cresto, come here, my boy." But anywho, kind of miss him, but yeah.
You weren't here for it, but initially we were having trouble even getting the correct server. We would keep pressing the button that says NA East, but it would put us on NA West servers for some reason. And we can't play NA
sometimes we
West
need to-
because there's European players in this lobby, so...
Exactly. If
that
that
was part
happens,
of why this
actually,
game still
if
works,
that
so-
happens, you probably need to change the bat file. Actually, this is something even happened to me as well previously when I was working, but that's a topic for. Okay, hello, worlds. We'll get
Oh
rid
boy.
of secret out of the equation.
Oh
before-
boy.
Okay, worlds. Sorry, Rev, what are you up to, buddy? She was gonna be able to find a lot of frags with the pistol here, and now she has a completely open objective in her own domain, and now she can also go for the turtle set to go for the plan. There's not much to worry about, as the last remaining defenders are pretty damn far away. Well, as the castle will find some form of values, but now in a 2v2 situation, the hatch is still very much open, but now I was expecting the thermite to open up the wall to open a line of sight, and now that's exactly what she's gonna do. Both the players are right in front of him, but now as the walls are opened up, they will have to worry about that wall as well. So many angles, so many things to worry about, but now it's gonna be none other than the Monty stepping up one by one, but finally she will be taken off, and now it's all to Eris. It's revealed, pre-fire is gonna be there, and there you have a shift day. Finally finding the frags. What a play from the Thermite, even though I'll have to give credit where it's due. It's gonna be the Monty finding a triple kill with a handgun. The Monty is definitely being a pain for the side of the defenders. And now StrikeX is able to slap back a bit more farther with a 4-5 scoreline. And now, Wildcards, what's gonna be their take going up forward? They are still very much in the lead. They're still very much feeling confident. I was expecting a Monty ban, but never mind. They will be taking off Thermite. So now the attackers will have a much harder time opening up a bigger hole, in my opinion. I mean, Hibana can do the same, but it does take a lot longer than Thermite. I mean, Hibana takes a lot longer than Ace as well. So that might as well give them a harder time, but I think there will be a couple of players who will be bringing the can openers one by one, but we are going into a bar game room defense as players of Wildcards realizes that the kitchen defense is not the best of them, considering the Monty just overrun them.
Yeah, it's a very interesting approach now that Thermite is off the board that StrikeX are forced to take. And I don't know, just now when we saw that Monty 3K, I had flashbacks to yesterday. You didn't see it, but I believe it was Riv. Maybe it was Shift. I genuinely don't remember which player it was. But on StrikeX, one of the players had a Monty Ace yesterday. It was It was a sight to behold. It was a sight to behold. We'll put it that way. It was a very, very interesting occurrence that I'm not sure we are going to be seeing again today. But if there's a team that can do it, it's StrikeX, as they've shown. They are up to 4 rounds though, within 1, currently within striking distance of Wildcard Queens, who are playing a phenomenal defense right now. But end of the day, it becomes a matter of, can they hold on for just a little bit longer with this defense? Again, you win 2 more. If you just win 2 rounds, right now, it's over. But StrikeX is a team that's more than capable of taking these attacking rounds, and we've just seen that. So, very interesting approach is what's going to have to happen here for the side of Wildcard Queens. And losing out on your top frag is not a great start.
But we'll have to adapt regardless. Frost. I'm not sure if she fell onto the blue stairs side, but that is the case.
Oh,
That was not quite the best of the hold, but then again, refrag attempts from the side of StrikeX, and they will also find success as the Woma is being contested by the IQ, I believe. Yeah, it is. But Woma is still very much alive, and I would say if she can run away and just live to tell the tale another day, at least she has the manpower advantage. Never mind, they don't. So that makes a lot more desperate times over here, as the Jaeger is also forced to fall back down drop down the hatch, as they will have to hold on to the objective, the last defensive lines they have. Minute and 30 remaining.
They have the Flores up on top floor here, so these drones could end up being a major problem for the side of Wildcard Queens. Down a player, unable to really do anything about these bomb drones coming in and destroying what utility may be left. So it just becomes a matter of how well can Cass hold this position right now.
Line going
There are
down.
some people on the hatch above.
Plan denied. That's good as well.
Will fall. That's a really good pick. Cass on this Jaeger, potentially in the most important spot on the map right now. Secret also on the stairs, just off site. Cass finding another one onto the Bloppy. There's a very real chance that they can bring this one all the way back. They seem to know where the rest of the players are. And that's a trade. 1 versus 1 now. I don't think they have time to pick up Cass. But Secret and Shift A will be the last 2 standing. But Shift A doesn't have the diffuser in hand.
She can just leave the Gumas and run away if she wants.
20 seconds remain. Down to 15. Shift A still not with the diffuser in hand. She might just be hunting down. No, does grab it. Does go for the plant, but here's footsteps. And the pick's gonna come through. Secret able to clutch up. That was a 2 versus 4 situation converted successfully by Wildcard Queens, putting them on match point. Championship point. One more round. And they've done it.
This is gonna be a challenging time for the side of the attackers now, because now they are on a four-round situation while their opposition leads with 2. This is gonna force them to bring everything they have to keep themselves alive. Maybe push it back to overtime again. We have seen this several times, but most of the times they were on defensive side, and the defender's curse was the attacker's curse were favoring the defenders quite a lot. But now it's not necessarily the case anymore, because the players of Wildcard, they had a 3-3 equalization on their own attack. So no complaints on their attack, but phenomenal performance on their defenses. One more round to go. All they have to do is play time and play it safe, and they can crown themselves as the champions. Strike X. They had everything on the second map. They were the ones who had the driver's seat. And now their backs are up against the wall. Either they push back or they get squashed by the force of Wildcards against the wall. There's no going back here, ladies and gentlemen. 2 rounds to push to overtime, or is it going to be the last one? Answers are something we will be expecting, and which will be answered as well as the action phase starts, as the players will have to be extremely careful how they want to take this attack. A Habana on the board, so hard reach is not gonna be the easiest.
It's also
They'll
going
probably
to
have
be
to throw
that
bodies.
just to prevent
Yeah, go on.
so much utility just being entirely prevented by those mute jammers on the wall there. So going to be very difficult to even get in on this one. The Aruni gates also complicate this one immensely. This attack is not going to be easy, but if Strike X wants a chance at the first place position, they need this one. And they'll need another one after it. And so far, this shove through the basement with the Montaigne, relatively successful. Whole lot of players just not able to convert off of anything, but that's a big first pick on the Impala. You do love to see that if you're a Strike X fan. And I know we have a few of those watching right now. Just looking for a little bit more here.
It's his own teammate, buddy.
Listen. I'd get jumpy in a situation like this too.
I just did a couple of seconds ago. No. Speaking from experience.
5 versus
Okay,
4, the defense not currently favored, but they make it over. The smoke is here just to try and stall this one out for a little tiny bit longer. Riv is forced back into the hallway.
Interesting.
These X-Gyros are going to open up a hole in this wall. This approach gets harder and harder by the second. Just barely over a minute left in the round. And Shift A, a lot of this falls on you.
Nice shot.
Eris finding a pick with Shift A, finding Bullet. Diffuser is being planted right now by the Monty. And Secret will be the next to fall. Strike X with a successful attack so far, but still not looking amazing on numbers. It is a 3 versus 1, and Eris has been lights out throughout this entire series since she was subbed in. But it may be too much for the Aruni. The DMR will not fire off any more shots, and Foe will close out the round. It's now 5-6. Overtime is once again a very real possibility.
I put my bets on the overtime already, to be told, because every single time, whenever any team reaches match point, it's always the opposition just pushes back hard and bring themselves back on the board. And I have to admit, I love how the previous attack went down, because, truth be told, that's actually a strategy I do with my friends as well. You open up a long line of sight onto the big garage or the car garage side, onto that double wall, and then you open up elbow, or should I say the wine wall. And then you just allow one of the players, or if you want to walk through the onto the breach yourself, be my guest, it's okay. But you allow a player to go in, kill the player on the pillar, and then just hold the plan and play the long angle. Because if the defenders tries to go for a retake, either they'll have to flank from the garage hatch, or the museum hat. I think it was the trophy hatch, if I'm not wrong. And
So,
if they're kind of lucky, or if they have sharpshooting skills, they'll have to take control of the player of the on the big garage side. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible to take control of the retake on the elbow side. But regardless, Strike X, they are looking extremely strong for the time being, and I really hope they feel this momentum for the entirety of this round as well, because now if they can, they will bring back their momentum as well, showing off Wildcards that, hey, you can destroy the curse of the attackers. Guess what? We'll do the same, because every single time it's always coming down to the factor of overtime. But then again, Strike X is still not out of the mud yet. One more round to go. And then they at least will have something to answer with.
it's down to this round, the final round of relegation here. Right? And just... if Strike X can win this, it would be utterly insane. Going all the way to a third overtime in this grand final. And an early trade. Riv and Impala both going down, but arguably you'll take that trade every day of the week. If you're the side of Wildcard Queens, no more shield to have to deal with. And the diffuser is down. Strike X will have to recover that one.
Oh,
They want a
God.
chance, but what a swing out from Cass! Having a slightly quieter game than what we're used to, but manages to swing out and find a pick anyway. And with Foe out of the picture, this suddenly becomes a lot scarier for the side of Strike X. 4 players left, 90 seconds remaining in the round. Still no diffuser in hand. A lot of pressure now on Strike X. They've recovered the diffuser. In the hands of the Fuse as we speak. No way! The Fuse gadget finds a kill. Bully falls, no more smoke. That plant denial utility will not be in play any longer. With just under a minute remaining. 3 versus 3. This is so scary for both sides. If you're not on the edge of your seat at home, there's something wrong with you. Down to the absolute wire. 30 seconds remaining in the round. And still Strike X needs to get closer to this site. If they want any chance at this. It's all down to one final engagement. 10 seconds left in the round. But 2 players from Strike X fall! It's over! Wildcard holds! They take a gamble! More than a time or two, but the deck was in fact stacked in their favor. Wildcard Queens will close it out. We will not see a third overtime. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff coming out from them. And they're able to finally close it out after such a scary second half there.
Scary to say the very least, actually, because the way the defenders just hang on to that cliff and they didn't let go, even though the world was collapsing on them as well to some degrees, it's just respectable. It's just something I admire quite a lot, because in the late game, the Legion just played behind the stairs, or should I say Harry Potter of Trophy Sat, and Aruni was being a boogeyman on the West Main stairs. Boy, oh boy, nobody would expect anybody to be there on the postman scenario. The mute was just chilling. He was there to deny the plan in case something goes wrong. But regardless of the fact, those 2 players holding on actually gave them the thing they wanted. In the end, it is going to be the side of Wildcards who will break the curse of the attackers. I'm not going to say the players of Strike X couldn't quite do it. They were able to make it enough of an effort, but in the long run, the time management is something they just kind of fell short on, because after the fuses went in, they probably could have gone to the hatch drop and probably allowed someone to hold on to the west main, and maybe someone could have stayed on the hatch to allow the fuse to go for a plan, or anybody else for that matter of fact, because think about it. When you drop the hatch, you have quite a lot of cover onto the kitchen counter, even the bomb chassis as well. The only threat you're gonna have probably gonna be expecting is gonna be from the west main door or the trophy or the profit rotation. So both of those angles can be covered by the player who's probably gonna be playing on the hatch. But at the same time, if you happen to have a player on west main as well, that reduces a lot more stress from the player on the hatch player, so that he can or she can hold only one angle, and you can just chill on the plan and play post plan in the long run. But then again, it's completely fine, because when it comes to a grand final, when it comes to a tournament, it's normal to panic. I'm not gonna say they panicked, but it was a lot of pressure on them, and in the end, it was Wildcard who was able to capitalize on that, and they were able to crown themselves as the champions.
And it was hard fought. Two overtime maps
Mm-hmm.
and one map that very realistically could have gone there. We were in round 12, 3 versus 3 with 15 seconds left. It really could have gone either way, but the guns on the side of Wildcard Queens just hit different in that moment. They did not miss a single shot. And that's the name of the game at the end of the day. The utility is important, but the gun is what it mostly comes down to in the final few seconds there. And Wildcard, they did it. They ran away with it at the very, very last possible second. No overtime imaginable. We did just win with getting them 7 rounds. So very,
That did
very well
happen.
done to them. Congratulations.
Absolutely. I mean, I do agree with you, but at the same time, I will also point out the team factor here. In the end, both the teams played phenomenally, and I don't think there was any lackluster of team composition whatsoever. But in the end, I kind of feel like that the side of Strikers needs to adapt how exactly they want to have a particular take on a particular map. It's not about attack in general, it's about their own defense as well. But then again, I can be wrong on this term as well, because on the round where I said FBI opened up on the game room defense from Strike X,
Mm-hmm.
as I said, it was undoubted that Wildcards tried their level best to destroy the morale of their opposition. But guess what? They were also ready to slap back harder, because in no way in hell I expected a retake to go down that flawlessly, especially from the Wamai finally hitting that shot on the Blitz. Yes, questions can be asked. The Blitz didn't need to go for an ADS, but it doesn't matter. The Blitz had an advantage. She could have probably pushed in as well, but regardless, she kind of felt adrenaline because she felt confident. And confidence is something you just cannot overshadow by anything else. But in the end, I would
Mm-hmm.
say both the teams, even though we are crowning one particular team as a champion, the other team was not too far away from it. They were this much away from crowning themselves as the champions, or should I say, to push their opposition to the absolute limit. Again, you said 2 maps went to overtime. The third one might as well have gone there as well. But I'm damn sure on the coming days, Team Strike X is gonna come back way more stronger.
Almost certainly. But today, once again, the champions are going to be Wildcard Queens. And with us now having crowned our champions, that's going to do it for us for this stream today. It's been a blast. Thank y'all for having me on. Again, this was like the second tournament of Siege I've ever casted. So thank you for being willing to take a chance on somebody who's very new to covering this game. Uh, I'm sure I'll go back and I'll look at the VOD and I'll be like, oh, I messed up like a call out here, or I forgot this operator's name for a moment. But I appreciate your patience and willingness to work with me anyway. So thank you again so much, for everyone, for watching. It was a blast covering this with you, Creston. And this is going to be the two of us, Getzer and Creston, signing off. Have a good evening, y'all.